Hello everyone, it's your host, your friend, your boy, Jet Black, the one and only, here with another exciting live stream. If you've never been to one of these vlog streams before, then there are actually a lot you can watch if you like this one. In these videos, what I pretty much do is I've written notes throughout my day about what I've done today. What I'm going to do is read through the notes without looking at the live chat, and then after I read through my notes on the day, I'm then going to talk with you guys in the live chat, have like a full-on hangout where we can just talk about whatever we want. You guys can ask me any questions you want. We can have discussions about whatever topics. And we just go hard, just talk about whatever. Then at the very end of the stream, I go over my day one more time, reading through the notes without looking at the live chat, and then I look at the live chat for a little bit once I'm done to see how you guys may react to my day. For those who may have not been able to make it to the stream at the very beginning. Give me one moment. I'm getting the live chat set up on my computer. That way I'll be able to see what you guys are saying. Also, I'm going to, edit the description of the video before I start. That's a big thing that I like to do so you guys can follow along when I talk about my day. And also, if you come in late, you can check the description and see what I've said about my day. I also like to do that so that if someone is like searching for this kind of content, that the video already has tags on it. So it's just like a little maintenance thing I do. Yo, Nani, welcome to the stream. It's good to have you. Don't forget to smash that like button. Truly appreciate it. Nani's asking, where is everybody? I'm currently just here. So if you were expecting like a big group stream with like all the dudes, Matt's like at home, Jarrod's at home. Collin wasn't feeling well. Hopefully he feels better soon. But we'll get into all that as I go through my notes for today. So yeah, give me one moment. I'm about to edit the description of this video, putting all the juicy information in. Thank you for smashing that like button, by the way. Truly appreciate it. Also, feel free to tell me how you guys are doing today in the live chat. I'd love to hear if you guys have any like interesting things going on, or just to hear that you had a good day. Scrolling down to the bottom. And now I've more or less finished the description. I just need to tag the video and set the categories. And tagging in categories is easy. You can do that with the greatest of ease. Okay, all changes saved. And then it already was set to the right thing for categories, so that's cool. So now I'm good. So I'm going to click over. Matt said, Jet, get on Discord so I can give you material. Matt, get on Amino so that you can give me a material. So without further ado, now that I've edited the description, I believe I've saved the edits on the description. I have. So I've edited the description. So now what I'm going to do is read over my day without reading over the live chat, give you guys all the details of what I did today. Okay, so I woke up and watched some Pretty Much It. If you guys don't know what Pretty Much It is, it's a YouTube channel that I started watching yesterday. So if you want to learn more about Pretty Much It, you can watch yesterday's vlog. I go into some good detail about like what the channel is like. But I watched some Pretty Much It and got picked up by Collin and Jarrod. We then went back to Collin's place where CJ joined us, and we played some one-on-one matches in Smash Ultimate. I made Mii Gunner. I realized that I need to play more defensively and work on better punishing attacks from above and below. Mii Gunner, for whatever reason, I seem to really suffer if my opponent can get under me and just like keep launching me up. I have trouble like dodging in the air and making sure that I don't get hit. And then I have reverse trouble when people try to spike me, when they try to like go down and hit me from above. So I need to get better with Mii Gunner, defending myself from below and from above. I found myself in a lot of matches, especially against Collin, doing one-on-one Smash Ultimate, where Collin does a lot of juggling, so he'll like launch me up into the air, and then I'll try to avoid Collin by like moving in different directions in the air, and Collin would end up just like launching me again. I would try doing the air dodge thing, and sometimes that would work, sometimes that wouldn't. It's really a timing thing. I think sometimes I would do it just to get like a little more room to the side to like try and avoid Collin's attacks. But I need to get better at defending myself when I do get juggled to make sure I don't get juggled again, preventing myself from getting juggled, and punishing spikes. I was able to punish Jarrod quite a few times when he tried to do like spike stuff. So I just need to get better at that. But I feel like that's something that I really need to work on with Mii Gunner and Smash Ultimate. After playing some Smash, Collin and Jarrod did some Blaz Blue combo challenges. While they played combo challenges, I worked on a superhero book about alternate universe versions of my friends. After finishing up the series concept and formula for Aidan, Aidan is like the first character that I worked on for this book. Um, we then started playing Blaz Blue. No longer doing combo challenges, just playing like matches against each other in Blaz Blue. So Matt arrives early and gets a few rounds of Blaz Blue in before we head out to the movie. On the road going to the movie, I called Black David. Black David, last time we saw an anime movie, I called him like last minute and he was able to like show up really quick. So I was curious to see if Black David could show up again because when we were on the way to the movie is when I was like, ooh, this seems like right up his alley. It seems like the kind of thing that he would like really want to watch. I should have contacted him beforehand, but better late than never. So I called Black David and he had just started washing his car. He had like just started washing his car when I called him, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I think I could maybe make that." You said the movie's at 4. What time is it now? Like 1? And I was like, it's like 3:18, and he was like, "Yikes!" So Black David ended up not being able to make it to the movie, sadly. When we got to Bridge Street going to the Broly movie. Also, yo, Kels, welcome to the stream. It's good to have you. Don't forget to smash that like button. Truly appreciate it. So when we arrive at Bridge Street, which is like the local town center where the best movie center in town, the Monaco, aka Cinemark, is located. In that little town center, there's this place called Maggie Moo's, and at Maggie Moo's, I always like to get milkshakes because if anyone who watches the channel regularly knows, I love milkshakes. So we go expecting to get milkshakes, and Maggie Moo's is closed. Like there's stuff in front of the windows to make it where you can't see inside. There's like a cardboard cutout thing, and on it, like someone in Sharpie really big wrote closed. So I don't know if Maggie Moo's is closed, like hardcore closed, like under renovations closed, or if Maggie Moo's is like closed down or what. I need to look into that more. But I mean, it wasn't just like the door was locked and it had a normal close sign. It looked like closed, like you're not supposed to like mess with it closed. So that's kind of disappointing. Maggie Moo's is a pretty solid establishment to get milkshakes that's not too far away from campus. So it would kind of hurt me if Maggie Moo's was gone. Hopefully, Maggie Moo's is not gone and we'll be able to get milkshakes there in the future. So because Maggie Moo's was closed, I went to America's Greatest Cookies instead. Colin didn't know that America's Greatest Cookies had like those independent stores. He's used to seeing the little like marquee things in the mall where you walk around and there's like a little America's Greatest Cookies just like I was about to say in the alleyway, in the aisles. It's weird to say aisles for a mall because it's such a big ass place. But we went to America's Greatest Cookies and I picked up an Icee, not as good as a milkshake, but hey, you do with what you can, you know what I mean? And we chilled out for a bit at Cafe 153. Collin and Jarrod were really feeling Cafe 153. They were like, it's so good. Do. And I've been there before and had like a smoothie from there, but I didn't really like dig it. I thought it was kind of, you could feel that like they took syrup and they put it in a thing. Like it didn't feel like a real smoothie to me. But we went there and chilled. They had like a nice couch. I sat on like a real couch and I was like, oh, this is nice. A lot of places you go to, they don't have like couches. They have like normal like restaurant seating. So that was cool. The smell hits you really hard when you walk into Cafe 153 and not really in a good way. At first, I thought I was smelling like steak from like a steakhouse that was nearby, but it was just like the strong coffee smell. Matt didn't fuck with it at all. He was like, it smells bad. And I was like, I don't think it smells bad. It's just like, it's a lot. I'm not really a coffee guy, so I guess that's like and it's not, I guess, that is just a subjective thing, not really liking the smell, but it was strong. It was like too strong. Um, Gerard was really filling up this drink that they have at Cafe 153. It's a mocha coffee, but they put in like cayenne pepper. So it's like a spicy sweet kind of drink. If you've ever had a McFuddy's pepper cola, by the way, if you haven't, they're really good. They sell them at Second and Charles in my area. It's that kind of deal where as you drink it, it's sweet, but the spiciness kind of like puts a burn in your throat, but it's a good burn that makes you want to drink more of it. So you can find yourself like drinking like a lot of it over time. But Gerard had one of those this morning, and he really fucked with it. So when we went back to Bridge Street, he got another one, but this time he got like an iced version. And I haven't gotten a chance to ask him about it, but I am curious. I don't think I would ever mess with it though. I'm not a coffee drinker, but I do think it's an interesting like flavor concept. So I would like to hear more about it. So we went to Cafe 153 for a bit before we met up with Dozer at the movie theater. So originally I thought a lot more of us were going to the movie, but today I got like a confirmed list of people. So at the movie it was myself, Colin, Gerard, Matt, and Dozer. So it was like five of us. Originally, I thought that like Avery was going. I thought that Sydney was going. I thought that CJ was going. I was hoping that Black David would be able to make it. So I thought it was going to be like a huge group of us. It still was like a reasonably sized group. Um, but I just thought more of us were going to go. So we saw the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie. I'm not going to spoil anything unless you guys ask me to. And if you do ask me to like say any like spoiler based thoughts, I'm gonna put like a hard spoiler warning like before I say anything. But long story short, no spoilers for like Dragon Ball Super Broly review. I would say that the movie was like a 6.2 out of 10. Reasons why, I felt like some of the transformation animations were like really solid. Like I really fucked with them. The stuff that I thought I wouldn't like about the movie, being like the stuff at the beginning of the movie covering Broly's backstory, I thought it was gonna feel like a drag and that it was gonna be like too slow, especially because it's recounting things that we've already seen, um, like in previous like Dragon Ball stuff, like the Bardock special, and like the Dragon Ball minus like manga short or whatever. But it ended up being like pretty solid. I actually found myself really enjoying the beginning part of the movie, especially the characterization of Bardock. He seemed like a pretty like solid character that I actually liked. So I enjoyed like the part at the beginning with Bardock. I felt like some of the transformations were really dope, like the way that they animated it. I even felt like one of the transformations in particular, I'm not gonna like go hard on which transformation in particular it was, um, seemed to be like the best transformation into that form that we've ever seen. So it's a form that we've already seen before in the series, but the way they describe how you attain that form doesn't fit the way that you normally see it transformed into. But the way that they did it in this movie, I was like, oh, that's what they've been saying, but they never show it. I'm like glad they showed it. So a lot of the transformations I would say were like stunning. They just looked really good. They did a good job at animating them and making them like true to what people have said in the past, like in the show about how the transformations are supposed to work. So I really vibed with that. I really vibed with the Bardock stuff at the beginning that I originally thought wasn't going to be very good. Um, I really liked one scene in particular in a fight between Broly and Goku. Not gonna go into any spoilers unless people ask about that later on. Um, and then, oh, there's a new technique in the movie. Not gonna spoil what the technique is unless people ask. But there's a new technique in the movie that I really fucked with. So if you guys want to know about that, that technique was like super solid. So now the stuff that I didn't really like about the movie, and like I said, I'm not gonna spoil anything. So none of the tracks in the like movie, like the original soundtrack, to me really like fit. I never was sitting in the movie theater and listening to the music and looking at the like action on screen and going like, wow, like the music is paced to the action. Um, and I feel like that's kind of an issue. I feel like I'm sitting here and I'm listening to the music and the music just is there. And I've listened to some of the Broly soundtrack on my computer before, and I've heard like a lot more instruments in it when I listen to it on my computer. When I'm sitting in the theater, you have all the extra sound effects of like people like fighting and like punching each other, and all you can hear for certain parts are just like vocals of a song, but not like the actual music of the song. And I just felt like it didn't work. I feel like it didn't work with the movie much at all. The CGI. The CGI in the trailers is the same CGI that you see in the movie. I felt like when we saw like the trailers for the Broly movie and you see some of those CGI scenes that look like they're ripped out of like a Dragon Ball Fighter Z kind of thing. When I saw that, I was like, maybe it's just a little rough. You know, there's like a trailer and the real movie. Maybe they would have like polished it up a little bit. But no, the CGI looks just as rough as it does in the trailer. And to be honest, I wouldn't mind the CGI action scenes too much if like the whole movie was done in that style. But when it switches from the 2D to the CGI, I just didn't vibe. I really didn't. It didn't consistently like hold to it. So I know that's subjective. All of this is subjective, but I felt like the CGI it broke immersion for me. There was only one scene in particular that I won't spoil unless you guys ask for spoilers. There's one scene in particular where I felt like the CGI really worked. It made like the most sense for it to like be in CGI and it looked cool. But other than that one scene, I felt like the CGI was pretty jarring nonetheless. And my last con, the last thing that I like didn't really fuck with the movie was I felt like Broly's power was like too strong. Sorry about that. I need to get a quick drink of water. Anyways, I felt like Broly was too strong. The main arguments I can see for why Broly was as strong as he was, I'm not gonna go too deep into because I don't want to like spoil elements of the plot. But even with the information that we're given, I really don't feel like Broly would be as strong as he's portrayed to be in this film. It felt really weird. He seemed like too powerful for like what was going on. So those are like all the pros. I had like five pros for the movie. Like I said, I really liked the transformation sequences for a lot of the transformations. One in particular really popped off for me. I liked one of the new techniques that was introduced in this movie. There was a scene in the Broly versus Goku fight that I like really enjoyed, but I'm not going to spoil it. And the backstory portion of the movie was better than I thought. I thought it was going to be like a slow drag, but instead, excuse me, but instead of being a slow drag, it actually was like pretty good, and I liked the characterization of Bardock, and I felt like it did a good job of starting the movie off. It wasn't as boring as I thought it would be, and it went beyond my expectations. The backstory portion. Then for the cons, like I said, it's mainly the soundtrack not really fitting the action. It's the CGI feeling a little jarring, trading from like 2D to CG, except for one scene in particular where I felt like it really fit. But for most of the time in the movie, I was like, ah. And I felt like Broly was too strong for like what was portrayed. So let's see. So now that I have read through all my notes, maybe my score makes a little bit more sense that I gave for the movie. I gave it a 6.2, at most a 6.3 out of 10. I didn't think the movie was bad. If anything, a score higher than a 6 for me means it's a good movie. An okay movie for me is between like 30, sorry, not 30, between a 3 and like a 6. And then like a bad movie is between like a 1 and a 3. So I feel like it's right on the line of being either an okay or a good movie, with it leaning closer to it being a good movie. So that those are my thoughts on the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie. So let me jump in and talk more about my day, and then read the live chat. So after the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie, we went back to Collins and played some Fighter Z. Because of course, after you watch Dragon Ball characters fight, you gotta play Dragon Ball characters fighting. I mainly faced off against Matt and did rather well for the most part. I feel like Matt wants to play a zoner, but isn't playing a lot of zoning characters in Dragon Ball Fighter Z. I think I wrote in my notes D&D. My bad. Then Colin wasn't feeling well, so Matt took Jarrod and I back to our respective homes. Then back at the dorm, I took a quick nap before watching some Dragon Ball Fighter Z videos. Apparently, they're going to be changing up some of the base mechanics in Dragon Ball Fighter Z and trying to make it easier for, if you have one character and your opponent has three characters, for you to try and like play comeback, which I think is really interesting. So I watched a few videos about like the new mechanics. I watched one by Globku, and then I watched one about the snapback meta. There's a mechanic in Dragon Ball Fighter Z called snapback that's becoming like really like big. It's becoming like more of a thing in competitive play, which is surprising for me to hear. I feel like I've been seeing people in competitive snapback for a while now, but this video came out like 2 days ago. I don't remember who made it. And they were claiming that snapbacks are now really big. People are suddenly discovering that snapbacks are a thing and using them. But I think the main thing that he was trying to push in that video isn't that like snapping back an opponent is becoming big. I think he's bringing up that loops are becoming a thing. So in Dragon Ball Fighter Z, you can grab an opponent by doing a Dragon Rush, and if you grab your opponent, you can force them to switch into a character who is regenerating health, who wasn't currently on the screen. When you force them to switch, they stop regenerating health, and their health lowers to how much health they had before they had swapped out. So it really like screws them over, essentially. And now players are coming up with loops where they can force their opponent to snap back in, and then like beat up on their opponent, and then force their opponent to swap out and snap back in again, essentially preventing their opponent from ever regenerating health and killing off all their characters like very quickly. So that's supposedly like a big thing in the Fighter Z meta right now. So I'm interested in seeing how that affects the new patch that's coming to Dragon Ball Fighter Z, whether or not some of the new mechanics changes are going to like nerf the snapback meta or not, and also how that'll impact how our local group of Dragon Ball Fighter Z players, hanging out with like the guys and playing fighting games, how that'll affect how we play, if it will at all. So like I said, I watched some Dragon Ball Fighter Z videos and I exercised. Then once I finished exercising, I took a shower. In my notes, I just said I got dressed. That doesn't make any sense. Once I finished exercising, I jumped in the shower, freshened up, got dressed, and I started the stream. So yeah, there we go. Also, I noticed we have 3 viewers and 2 likes. Can we get it to 3 viewers and 3 likes? I definitely greatly appreciate it. Now I'm going to scroll up. Also, I noticed we got a new viewer, Chris. Yo, Chris, welcome to the stream. It's good to have you. Don't forget to smash that like button if you haven't already. I'm going to scroll through the live chat. I'm going to read what everyone's been saying because now I've finished going over my day. I did mess up a few things in the description. Let me fix the description real quick. The biggest one was saying D&D instead of saying, oh, I didn't post in the notes part of the description. RIP, it just has all the links in it. Okay. Well, that'll make this easier. Apparently, I didn't post in the description what I had done today. That's a hard rip. So, Dragon Ball FighterZ is what I meant to say there. I can't remember all the things that I messed up from before. Let's see, once I finished exercising, I showered, got dressed, freshened up, and started the stream. That makes a lot more sense. Also, I noticed that we're back to 3 viewers and 2 likes. Can we get it up to 3 viewers and 3 likes? Greatly appreciate it. I just finished going over my day. Right now, I'm making sure that in the description, all my notes on the day are listed. So that if you guys happen to miss that, you can jump in the description box and read up on what I did today. I'm currently editing that now. And now I'm hitting that Save Changes button. So, scrolling down, all changes saved. So the description now actually has everything that I did today. So that's cool. You guys should be able to check on that if you want to. So now I'm back in the live chat. I'm going to read through what everybody said. Feel free to ask me anything. It's like a full AMA where you can just ask me whatever you want. Also, feel free to bring up discussion points. I'm down to like have a conversation. That's kind of the point. It's like a hangout like with the audience. So without further ado, I'm going to jump in and read you guys' messages. Nani more or less asked, where is everybody? Is it like a big hangout vlog stream? Sadly, right now, it's just me in my room, but I am hanging out with you guys online. If you guys expect to see like Collin, Bangzel, Matt, etc., they're not like currently physically here, but Matt is in the live chat. So hey, we kind of have Mr. Hand on the stream in a way. Also, I noticed we have 4 viewers and 2 likes. Can we get it to 4 viewers and 4 likes? Greatly appreciate it. So then Matt said, Jet, get on Discord so I can give you material. It's a document for the D&D world building. Could you possibly get on Amino? I don't really do Discord anymore. I'm just not a Discord guy. I just feel like Amino is better. They both share features, but I just prefer Amino's interface and a lot of the stuff that Amino has built in. Seems pretty simple and easy to use. Kells then said, ooh, yo, Kells, welcome to the stream. It's good to have you. Don't forget to smash that like button. Truly appreciate it. Nani said, I'm back and blue. Then Matt says, spoil things. He wants me to spoil stuff about the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie. If I was to spoil anything, I would say spoiler alert, like right before, like I said it. Then Nani said, so are you going to talk to him on Discord? Then Matt said, hating movies. Bump that to an 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10. I don't feel like Broly earned the 8 out of 10, personally. I feel like if they were going to make Broly as strong as they did, they should have had like a better reason for why he was that strong. For the music, I feel like it wouldn't have been hard to have had like the old school like dun, 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 like guitar shred stuff. That used to be like really epic back in the day for the Dragon Ball movies where they had like rock and shit like that playing in the background of the fight scenes. I miss that, and I feel like this would have been like a perfect chance for them to have done that. Especially with Broly. Is Broly not like one of the grungiest, like metal ass characters in Dragon Ball? Why isn't there like some hard rock to these fight scenes? Because I feel like they tried to do something more orchestral, but then a lot of the instruments just got drowned out by the fighting, so you just hear vocals, and it just doesn't work. I feel like that wouldn't have happened if we had that hard rock soundtrack. Just saying. And then, like I said, the CGI didn't seem as smooth as like it could have been for transitions between like fighting scenes. I know what they went for. They tried to make models that looked kind of like the 2D, but they wanted to do these big elaborate set piece scenes where they're like it would just be easier to animate it in 3D. But it just doesn't work for me. It kind of broke my immersion. My friend Chase really hated it. I didn't like hate it as much as Chase did, but I understand where he's coming from, and I do feel like that kind of hurt the experience. Not gonna lie, but those are like my big gripes. I feel like if they had better explained why Broly was so strong, they have an explanation. I just don't feel like it's a good enough explanation. If they better explained why Broly was so strong, if the soundtrack maybe didn't try to go for the orchestral stuff, or maybe just done the orchestral stuff better. I'm not saying that an orchestral not contract soundtrack wouldn't have worked. It's just the fact that the way it was executed was poor, and it just didn't fit the scenes, and it didn't bring hype into the fight as songs in previous Dragon Ball movies and even in the TV show have done. It just didn't do that for me, and I felt like it made it lacking. The music just felt like it didn't belong. Um, I feel like if they had fixed those three things, I would have probably given Broly like a way better score, if not a perfect score. Also, good to see you guys on the stream. I just saw a DBS fan pop up in the chat. Make sure to smash that like button. Truly appreciate it. I saw the dubbed version of the movie. Right now, I'm going in order down through the chat. Let's see. Matt said, "You call yourself a Dragon Ball fan?" Yes. Yes, I do. Let's see. Then Nani said, "Hayden movies like Ryan and Matt." Ryan and Matt just have really strong opinions. I probably have really strong opinions too. I don't think I'm as picky as Matt though. Matt is a very picky person. Nani said, "And Joe Dirt." Then Matt said, "I liked the movie." Then Nani said, "Really?" Then Matt said, "Jet calling me picky when he's even worse than me." On pickiness? Matt, you don't eat fruit or vegetables. You don't eat either of them. You don't like any. Let's see. Nani said, "Yeah, he called you a picky disliker." Then Kel said, "Broly movie 8 out of 10." Nah, I gotta give it that 6.2 out of 10. Then Nani said, "Who did you watch it with?" Excuse me. I watched it with Collin, Jarrod, Matt, and Dozer. So it was five of us. Excuse me. And it seemed like we had a good time for the most part. I feel like everyone else liked the movie a little more than I did. I didn't dislike the movie at all. Like I said, it's in like the higher like 6 range, which shows that it's like at least okay. Like I think a 6 falls in the higher range of okay, lower range of like good movie. So it's on the border between being an okay and a good movie. Let's see. Matt said, "Remember, we have the Japanese soundtrack since we aren't working with Faulkner sounds. Well, Faulkner songs. Why is that? Like, why is it that we don't have like the Faulkner songs?" Then Kel said, "Yeah, the Japanese Broly and dub have a different soundtrack. I don't know why." Then Matt said, "No, it's the same soundtrack. That's the point. Z had different soundtracks because we got like the hype fighting music in Z. I really wish that we had gotten a different soundtrack because, like I said, I don't think the orchestral music really worked. That being said, I feel like it could have worked. It just seemed like it was turned down too low because the fighting kind of drowned out the music, and the music didn't seem to fit the scenes. It didn't add hype. It didn't like go with the fight. Kel said, "I think the CGI was pretty good." I disagree. I feel like it broke my immersion. The best CGI is the CGI that you don't notice. So, in my opinion, the best CGI scenes are ones where you don't even know they use CGI. But I felt like it was very, very noticeable every time they used CGI in the movie. And I just feel like it didn't fit, except for one scene in particular in the movie where I felt like the CGI was a perfect fit. Also, I noticed we now have 4 viewers and 3 likes. Can we get it to 4 viewers? Oh, we got 5 viewers and 3 likes. Can we get it from 5 viewers and 3 likes to 5 viewers and 5 likes? Greatly appreciate it. Let's see. So then Kel said, I think the CGI was pretty good. Matt said the CGI wasn't bad, all things considered. Only when they went to the spoilers, CGI verse was it dumb. I mean, light spoilers. He didn't really say what that was. See, Matt and I are kind of flip flopped on it. Matt thinks the CGI worked well until it hit a scene in particular that I'm not going to spoil. And then I feel the opposite way. I think the CGI was like pretty bad until that scene happened, and in that scene in particular, the CGI made the most sense. So me and Matt are like in direct opposition about when the CGI was cool and when the CGI looked kind of dumb. Matt said most of the CGI actually worked, and since the environments were also CGI, it allowed for interesting destruction effects. I feel like the destruction effects were the only good points of the CGI, but I felt like the character models were kind of rough. Whenever they did a big destruction scene in CGI, they also had the character models in CGI, which makes sense. But I just felt like the character models were the most glaring like issue when it came to the CGI. They straight up look like they came out of Dragon Ball Fighter Z, which isn't a bad thing. Dragon Ball Fighter Z is a beautiful game that pays homage to like the anime's like style and aesthetic, but it just didn't fit switching between a fight scene that's done in traditional like 2D animation to a fight scene done in CGI, and it's the same fight. It's the same. To me, I was like, what? It's not even like they like made different fights be in CGI and some fights in 2D. I wouldn't have liked that either. But to have them mixed in but not actually fit together was also gross. I wasn't a fan of that at all. Matt said also spoilers, sorry not sorry. Already told Jet to spoil everything. And then Matt said no, give it an 8 out of 10. Can't do it. Then Matt said Jet, average is 5, stop it. I don't think average, well, an average movie being a 5. I would say an average movie is between 30, well, not 30, I keep saying 30. Between 3 and 6 is average. And then you have like the lower average is like a 3. That's like the lowest average. A 3 is right between being a bad movie and being an okay movie. Then you have like 4, 5, and then 6 is right between being an okay movie and being a good movie. Then Matt said dot 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 dot. Matt said Jet, don't say what I want to play in Fighter Z. It is effectively different in than fighting games that have zoners. I mean, I feel like you want to be a zoner, Matt. I feel like that's what you're going for. What is your goal, Matt? You mentioned that your goal is like mobility, but mobility for what reason? To attack at ranged, like a zoner? Like this is like what are you going for in Fighter Z if not for that? Kel said, spoiler alert. Kel's is about to say a spoiler for the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie. So Kel said, I thought the scene when Gogeta and Broly low key broke reality and started fighting in a different dimension for a sec was hecka dope. So that was the scene that I felt like the CGI worked the best in for me personally. That's the scene that Matt thought the CGI was the worst in. When they're in that other dimension, I actually excuse the CGI character models as being like, you know, these CGI character models are just kind of like here. Like an aesthetic change works when you're in literally another dimension because then the character models were literally higher dimensional. They went from like 2D character models to 3D character models in the other dimension. So I felt like that worked. I felt like that was perfectly fine. Also, that reminds me in the theater, Bangzel, aka Jarrod, he looked over at me when they like broke into the other dimension and he was doing this. He was flashing his hand, and it took me a minute to understand what he was saying because his mouth was moving. But he was, I think, saying 5-dimensional minimum, and I was like, oh, you got me. Um, but I thought that was okay. I feel like that was the best use of CGI, but still not like the best thing ever. Let's see. Matt said, I love how you tell us what other people have done rather than what you have done. In like Fighter Z, I felt like I did rather well. I mainly faced off against Matt. That's what I said in the notes. What? I don't know what you expected from me, Matt. Like what you expected me to say. Matt said, guess the spoiler train is real. Then Chris said, hey, it's for horses. Yo, Chris, welcome to the stream. It's good to have you. Don't forget to smash that like button. Truly appreciate it. We currently have 5 viewers and 4 likes. Can we get it to 5 viewers and 5 likes? Truly appreciate it. Thank you. Matt said, Come now. Do you really think you'll get max likes with me around? And then he said, Jet, just use Discord for D&D. It isn't hard. Why can't we use Amino, Matt? It's just better. You can access Amino on your desktop and on your phone. Matt said, I don't even use Discord for much, but it's just useful for D&D. What about email? That's also an option. Then Chris said a bunch of grunting and punching noises. He said that's Broly. Broly's characterization was pretty good in the movie. Not gonna lie. Um, he's basically Tarzan. I don't think that's a big spoiler. But it's okay. I don't think he was like knocking my socks off or anything. He was just there. DBS fan 1010 said, "Did you watch dub or sub?" We watched the movie English dub, so we didn't watch it in Japanese. I wouldn't have liked reading the screen, but I actually do like the Japanese voices a lot, and I did find myself missing the Japanese voices while I was in the theater. Chris said, "Be a real weeb and watch the sub is much better." Okay, I think you're on to something when you say watch the sub is much better. Some of the lines in the movie were really good. There's a line that Frieza says that has like a metaphor in it, and the translation of that into English worked really well. I'm not sure if the Japanese version had the metaphor, but if it did, it translated like spot on, and it was like a really nice way of Frieza to give off like his battle strategy and how he felt about like the Saiyans. He has like one line that just fucking killed it. I was like, ooh, that was kind of poetic. I really liked that. And then there's a new character in the movie. I'm not gonna spoil like the character, but they say a line in the movie that's like the most literal translation of thought you could possibly have. Like there's nothing clever about it. You already know how she's feeling from like how she's behaving in the situation and like the urgency of the situation to where you don't really need her to say anything to know what she wants and what she's trying to do, but she essentially like exposition dumps her feelings and in it like to the exact point to where it's like if they had made her think that, like think the line that she said, I would have excused it, but she said it out loud and I was like, wow, that was so unnecessary and that felt like such a ham-fisted like, hey, if you don't get it, this is what that character wants. And I'm curious if in Japanese if it was better, like if in Japanese she did like use some kind of metaphor or did like say it in like just a more real way. I feel like people don't normally talk exactly the way they would think, like their raw thought. And I just didn't fuck with that dialogue at all. I was like, ooh, that seems like a first draft thing you would say. It's not like what the final line necessarily should be. And then Chris said, don't eat fruit or vegetables. What the? So Matt doesn't like fruit or vegetables at all. So Matt earlier was saying that I was like pickier than him, and I was like, Matt, like you don't eat like two like basic food groups like at all. I don't think you could say that I'm more picky than you are. I just don't think that makes sense. Then Kel said, I think it's better that they used a new soundtrack rather than reuse old songs, but I think the Japanese soundtrack was better. Well, Matt's argument is that they didn't use different soundtracks, that it's like the same soundtrack. So I don't know how that works. Also, I noticed that we got 6 viewers and 4 likes. Can we get it to 6 viewers and 6 likes? Truly appreciate it. Let's see. Nani says still Hayden. I'm not Hayden. I felt like the Broly movie was a 6.2 out of 10, maybe a 6.3 at most. Like I said, it's on the border between being an okay and a good movie, leaning closer to being a good movie, just about. I mean, to lean really close to being a good movie would be like 6.5. Matt said, because Faulkner was a cheap, marketable option to get 10-year-old boys hyped, and in our modern day, we don't need to do this anymore. We don't need to get people hype anymore. Dragon Ball's, like, part of Dragon Ball's appeal is that hype train, is like the concept that you can get really hype over the fights, you can get really hype over like some of the songs. You know how many people like really fuck with the like Ultra Instinct theme from like Dragon Ball Super or like the Dragon Ball Super Tournament of Power like theme song or whatever. I feel like music and Dragon Ball and hype are all like interconnected. Uh, and I feel like part of making like the best Dragon Ball experience you can for the big screen is like having like good like hype train ass music. Um, I can't speak for what the music was in like previous like Japanese stuff for Dragon Ball because I normally watch the dub. But for Dragon Ball Super, I did watch that in Japanese, and I can tell you that the music in Dragon Ball Super was hype when it needed to be, and it did like match the fighting, and it did go hard. So I don't feel like saying that using a Japanese score is because we don't need to get people hype anymore. That doesn't make any sense, Matt. Recent Dragon Ball Super on the show, like a lower production thing compared to like a theatrical movie on the show had like hype as fuck music. I feel like it's not very excusable. They could have just made like songs for the movie that were hype to keep the hype going. I feel like it's an integral part to like the immersion and like really pushing the experience forward. And it's not just a 10-year-old boy thing to like get hype for the movie. Yeah, we want that hype, and I do think we do still need that hype. Um, so that's my opinion on it. Dookie Dropper is doing the shit post thing where he's like, hey, babe, hey, yeah, 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 hey, yeah, 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 hey, yeah, 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 yeah. And then he said, Nickabenson, one meal God has to be with me, and my God, my baby is in my bed, and yeah, 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 yeah. Matt said, Jet, 5 is literally halfway between 1 and 10. On a scale of 1 to 10, it is literally the average. I mean, it does fall right in the middle of okay for my scale. So I don't think you're wrong. Does it fit right in the middle of okay? 30 is at the base of okay, and it's like at the lower end. Then you have 40, 50, 60. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess my average for like the most average it could be would probably be like 4.5 maybe. Uh, which I know sounds weird, but it's the way that I like segment it, being like 0 to 3 is like bad, and then like 3 to 6 is okay, and then 6 to 10 is like good. Let's see. Then Matt said, "Give me your email." Then, if you go to like the UAH Gmail portal and you just start typing in my name, my email should just come up. Uh, if you do need me to actually like send it to you, like if it doesn't come up, I can text it to you later. You'll just have to probably remind me. Kel said, "Sorry if I don't chat that much. I'm working on art for my Yu-Gi-Oh OC." Oh, ballin'. I saw your Yu-Gi-Oh OC recently and like left a comment. I think you've replied to that comment, but I haven't had a chance to check your reply, so I'll make sure to do that soon. Matt said, "We don't need to make new music since the audience is just more understanding of the music choices of the Japanese. The Japanese music style is fundamentally different from American music style. Broly movie had mostly good music, with dumb funny moments being Broly, Kakaroto, Go Go Gogeta. I feel like when you listen to those tracks on the computer and you can really hear the instruments, I think the chanting and shit could have been hype. It feels like a pre-fight song, not a fight song. Like if you were to watch the characters standing and like powering up or whatever and having the camera like pan around them, it's like Broly, Broly, yeah, Broly, yeah. Like it feels like something that's supposed to like build hype, but they played it on the fights. They played it on like when they're actually like trading blows and hitting each other. And I feel like it doesn't fit that. It doesn't fit that at all. I feel like the best way they could have fit that song with like them trading like yelling names would have been like as they yell the names, they like trade and like who is leading the fight. You know what I mean? Nani said he doesn't like fruit and vegetables. What the fuck? Now that's picky. That's what I'm saying. I feel like Matt is pickier than I am. Then George said, same with Gogeta. Yo, George, welcome to the stream. It's good to have you. Don't forget to smash that like button if you haven't already. Right now we got 4 viewers and 4 likes. Is it possible to get 4 viewers and 5 likes? I'm not sure. The math. Well, we did it. We did it. 4 viewers and 5 likes. Hey. Matt said also, remember that we essentially watch one fight for an hour and 10 minutes. He said if it was hype the entire time, it would exhaust the audience. I'd like to leave the movie theater exhausted from hype. That seems pretty great. Kel said, spoiler alert, Broly's dad's death was legit hilarious though. I have a spoiler hilarious moment that I'm not going to disclose unless it's asked. Um, I understand where you're coming from. I think Jarrod laughed at that pretty hard when Paragus like bites the dust. Real quick in the live chat, I'd like to see everybody's score rating. I think I've seen at least 2 people give it an 8 out of 10. But real quick in the live chat, everybody just share like your score. Not Jet. Matt said, Jet, spoilers are flying everywhere. No need to hold back. I'm only giving out as much as like people are already saying or what people ask for. Then George said Frieza is still sticking to his bad ways. So Matt gave it an 8 out of 10. Matt, can you give me like your pros and cons, like the things that you like the most about the movie and the things that you didn't like about the movie? Excuse me. Then Nani said 8.5 out of 10. Could you also give me like a pros and cons thing, Nani? What do you like about the movie? What do you not like about the movie? Then Matt said, Jet, check the email. I mean, I'm not gonna check it like right now. Right now, I'm like doing the stream, and then right after this, I'm gonna probably like get ready for bed. We have about 15 minutes left in the hangout portion of the stream before I go over my day. So make sure that you guys, if you have any like questions, any like discussion points, things of that nature, that you start like posting those now, and I'll try and answer as many as I can before I go back over my day. George said, best Dragon Ball movie so far, that's for sure. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Also, I noticed we have 5 viewers and 5 likes. Is it possible for us to get 5 viewers and 6 likes? Believe it or not, I think we can do it. I appreciate it. I wouldn't say this is the best Dragon Ball Super movie. Well, it's the best Dragon Ball Super movie so far. I'll say that. Like I think it was better than Battle of Gods and Resurrection F. Resurrection F. Battle of Gods I think was pretty good. Not gonna lie. So that would probably be second to the Broly movie. Um, I don't know. I say that, but Battle of Gods was pretty fucking good. Battle of Gods may be first or second on my list. I'd have to rewatch Battle of Gods in order for me to like really give an answer. But Battle of Gods and Broly are definitely like in the top tier of the Dragon Ball Super movies, and Resurrection F is definitely like the worst one out of like the Dragon Ball Super movies we've gotten like so far. Um, in terms of like all Dragon Ball movies, like which were the best, I would say that Wrath of the Dragon, I believe that's the title of it, the one where they fight like a giant monster. That one is the best Dragon Ball movie. It has like a form of like weird, scary suspense and a larger than life villain that you legit are not sure if your heroes can overcome. And there's like legitimate destruction and cost to the fight where you're like, niggas died. Like that was like actually like a problem. There were like stakes to it. It was like a darker Dragon Ball story. That's my favorite fucking Dragon Ball movie, and I don't feel like the Broly movie was able to like give that same level of like tension and suspense where you don't know how your heroes are gonna like handle the situation. Let's see. Sebastian said, "Hi, bro. Yo, Sebastian Gomez. Welcome to the stream. It's good to have you. Don't forget to smash that like button if you haven't already. Truly appreciate it." Matt said, "The good. The fight was great. Had moments of levity. The CGI was mostly good. New characters are well developed for being Dragon Ball characters, and the Dragon Ball minus like beginning part was enlightening. So those were the good parts that like Matt thought. Like that's Matt's like opinion on what he thought was good about it. Kel said 8 out of 10. Pros: the fight choreography. Cons: Broly getting hecka thick, hecka quick in terms of power. I agree with that con 100%. I also agree with that pro. I do think the fight choreography was on point. Um, there's a lot of interesting momentum fighting that you don't really see in Dragon Ball for the most part. Like people like catching hits and using like other people's force of hits into throws to like throw opponents. There were like feints in the movie. You don't see a lot of feints in like Dragon Ball as of recent. So I felt like the fights were a little more technical than what we normally see, which is pretty good, not gonna lie. So I actually agree with everything that Kel said in terms of like pros and cons. He only gave one pro and one con, but I felt like they were both pretty good. For the things that Matt said was good, he said the fight was great. Yeah. Had moments of levity. Yeah. CGI was mostly good. Disagree. New characters are well developed for being Dragon Ball characters. Eh. Dragon Ball Minus was enlightening. Yeah, I did like the stuff that we learned from the beginning part of the movie. I actually ended up really liking the beginning part of the movie. Sebastian Gomez said the gesture. Was that it? Uh, George said, Broly for me is the first, then Battle of Gods, and then Resurrection F. I might agree, I might not, I'm not sure. I need to rewatch Battle of Gods before I can get my official list of like from best to worst Dragon Ball Super movies. Then George said the Tapion movie. Yes, the Tapion movie is my favorite Dragon Ball Z movie. I really vibe with it. Then Matt said, could have been better in that not pulling Piccolo, and some CGI was bad. Also, Goku can survive lava? Why? Um, did Goku get hit directly with lava at any point? Then George said Harudagarn. Mm-hmm. Harudagarn's my favorite movie villain. Matt said Harudagarn is literally just a kaiju. He doesn't even have motives. Well, keep in mind, Harudagarn was being puppeted by a monster that did have motives. It wasn't just like Harudagarn was there and he wasn't being controlled by someone who did have an agenda. So Harudagarn himself existed just to be a beatstick, but he was a beatstick wielded by a more malicious foe. So I don't know. I feel like your argument's kind of invalid on that one. Then Matt said, World's Strongest, Janemba, and Bojack are all better. Disagree. Heavily disagree. Um, I feel like most Dragon Ball movies, to me, have some trouble in setting up like tension and making you legitimately afraid for like how the movie's gonna go and how your heroes are going to like overcome the issue. I disagree the most with you saying that Fusion Reborn, aka the Janemba movie, was better than Wrath of the Dragon. Janemba's probably the worst Dragon Ball movie, period. Fusion Reborn is like actually garbage. When was the last time you saw Fusion Reborn? Actually a bad movie. Matt said first Cooler and even original Broly are better. The first Cooler movie is pretty good. And the Broly movie, like the original one, I kind of forgot. I can't really speak on it. I've seen it, but it's been like a long time. George said, spoiler, in the Broly movie, I really enjoyed that Goku God Rasengan. Matt straight up said that in the theater. Matt sat next to me and he was like, that Rasengan though. That more or less is like a thing that happens in the movie. That is interesting. I don't know why he more or less is just doing Rasengans now. Matt said Goku and Broly were fighting in lava. I know that they like knocked each other into the center of the earth at a certain part in the fight. Spoilers. But did someone get dipped directly in lava? I don't remember that off the top of my head. Like someone getting submerged in lava. Because Matt has a point. They definitely are affected by temperature based things. And I do think if they got dunked in lava, that would like fucking suck. I don't think they could just brute force their way through it. Let's see. Matt said Goku and Broly were fighting in lava. There is no tension in Dragon Ball. Highly disagree. I feel like some of the most like tense shit in Dragon Ball is when you see a threat that like legitimately puts people in danger. Because sometimes it's not that you're worried about the main characters and whether or not the main characters will survive. Because they're like hella strong planet busters. You know, you expect them to make it. A lot of times the tension comes from can they actually do anything about the threat? Like even if the threat, like even if you don't think Goku's gonna die, if you see like Nappa just blow up a city, right? He lifts his finger and a whole city blows up. It's like, well, they need to stop that nigga Nappa before he just keeps lifting up that finger and just blows up the fucking planet. You know, like Cell's arc has a lot of tension. The beginning of the Garlic Jr. arc, where Garlic Jr. just like kills a whole city, has like tension. Um, the fucking Goku training. Training is a great way to build up tension in Dragon Ball. Goku training and like the earlier arcs with like Namek and shit, that had a lot of tension. That one is more of a like can Goku get like strong enough to like fuck him over, you know, that kind of thing. Um, there's plenty of tension in Dragon Ball that can just be derived through other things. It doesn't always have to be are the main characters gonna die? It can just be like are the main characters strong enough to overcome the opponent? Can the main characters actually stop the opponent from just like wrecking the planet and like protecting the things that they care about? You know, they have like collateral. You know what I mean? So let me see. Kel said, I think it was Gogeta in the lava. Nonetheless, Goku's like universal, so I think he can handle some lava. So, in my opinion, there's a difference between being able to survive a hit that would destroy a planet and having lava proof skin. I feel like they're like distinctly different things. One is getting hit by like a heavy like ki attack, right? And Goku sometimes trains himself by hitting himself with like a Kamehameha and shit like that. He has fortified his body to be able to take intensely powerful like ki attacks directly to himself. Now, the Room of Spirit and Time does have like rapidly changing like temperature based things where like sometimes in the Room of Spirit and Time is really cold. Sometimes in the Room of Spirit and Time is really hot. So Goku has adjusted himself somewhat to like temperature changes and like extreme temperatures. But lava is lava. I feel like at a certain point you see that nigga in lava and you be like, what about his clothes? What about like his flesh or his eyeballs? Are you telling me he trained his eyeballs? Like I don't. How are his eyeballs not melted? I just don't get it. It just kind of fucked me over on that one. Let's see. And then Matt said, "You want to know what has tension? New Broly movie. How does the new Broly movie like? Where? What is like the most tense moment of like the new Broly movie?" I feel like I know the answer to that question, but I'd like to hear your opinion on it. Matt said yes, they were both under the surface of the lava. Dookie Dropper said, what move you said? And then he said, yeah, they were in lava. That's kind of gross. Um, so when you're asking what move, are you asking like what new technique from the movie I really vibed with? I mentioned that earlier, but I didn't actually say what technique from the movie I like really enjoyed. If you guys want to know, feel free to ask. I just don't know what move Doogie Dropper is asking about in particular. Then Matt said, "Don't talk about Garlic Jr. and tension when you didn't even see the tension." I watched that first episode of the Garlic Jr. arc, and then I watched all the episode previews, and I watched the last episode of the Garlic Jr. arc. I have a good idea what happened. Matt said, "Your tension rights are officially revoked." George said, "Dragon Ball Heroes is actually pretty enjoyable, especially when Zamasu is resurrected." He said his favorite villain of all time. I really like Garlic Jr. as a villain. Then Matt said tension for Broly surviving or not. Like whether or not Broly was gonna die is the tension. That's an interesting setup for tension. Mm. I don't know. I'm not that excited about will Broly die or will Broly not die? Because I imagine because Broly's so popular, even if they were to have killed him in this movie, spoiler, that actually is a hard spoiler. Spoilers. Even if they were to have killed Broly in this movie, I feel like he would have just come back later. I really don't think it would have mattered. Dookie Dropper said, "Yeah, the new technique. What was the new technique that I really vibed with in the movie? I love the weird God paralysis thing. Super Saiyan God Goku like moves his hands around and shit, and he creates a force field around Broly that like prevents Broly from moving. So Broly's like struggling to try and move, but Goku's like holding him back and trying to like reason with him. That was my favorite new technique in the movie. I really thought that was dope. I think Goku was inspired somewhat by Hit's ability to like stop Jiren in time during the Tournament of Power to like slow Jiren down. I think Goku saw that and said, "Ooh, I need something like that." But it was a very similar technique to something we'd seen before. But with Goku doing it, Goku's learning. He's developing new shit. When was the last new Goku move? Like a move that like Goku made up. That was some red hot fire. Kel said key attacks definitely produce heat. Lasers and stuff can destroy mountains to planets, which definitely produce heat. He said if those key attacks are that powerful, they would produce heat way hotter than lava. I actually disagree with that. So the reason why is because it's been shown that like laser attacks and shit like that are distinctly different things from Ki and like Dragon Ball. For example, Goku in his like base form can tank a Ki attack, right? You can like throw a Ki ball at Goku and he just be like, psh, like whatever, like you hit me with like a Ki ball. But in like the Battle of Gods movie, for example, where Goku gets like shot by like a laser ring in his base, and it's like, oh no, I got shot with a laser. Like lasers and Ki are like legitimately different. Um, Goku, because of how like Ki manipulation works and shit like that, he can do stuff like slap a Ki blast away. He can just be like, nope, nope, not today. But a laser can like hit Goku like a gun and like just be like like I think if Goku tried to like swat a laser, it would like go through his hand because it's a laser. Like it's just not the same thing. So I just feel like the properties of ki and the properties of like laser and stuff like that, lasers and things of that nature are just really different in Dragon Ball for whatever reason, just the way they're portrayed. Matt said A, Broly dying equals Broly not being in Super. I disagree with A. They could just revive Broly. We could see like Universe 6 or like alternate universe Broly. There are many different ways we could just keep seeing Broly. Then what's your B part? His B part, he's talking about some of the new characters in the Broly movie, so spoilers. He said B, Chile and Limon both cared a lot for Broly. Broly and those two all thought that Broly was going to die. So it's tension through the eyes of the new characters, Chile and Limon. I didn't really get attached to Chile and Limon for me to be like, oh man, I really care about like how they feel. You know what I mean? Um, I honestly think Chile is a weird character, just in general from the Broly movie. And then he said in C, Vegeta was actually trying to kill Broly. I don't really think that matters. I don't like the stakes that I think are important and like a Dragon Ball movie are like, is an important character that we already care about, is he going to die? And even then, I don't really care that much. Like, if Goku was to die in this movie, I'd be like, oh, he's gonna get wished back. If Vegeta was to die in this movie, oh, he's gonna get wished back. I think the deaths that would have mattered to me, where if they died, I would have been like, oh shit, would have been like if Chi Chi died, if Goten died, if Bulma died, if like Bulla had died or anything like that. Characters who aren't fighters dying, I think, are the most impactful deaths you can have in Dragon Ball. Because even if you can just wish them back later, it's a thing where it's like you had to like spend time without them for an extended period. Imagine if Goten had rushed into the fight and like ate shit and died. You know, that would have been tense. That would have been suspenseful. That would have been crazy. If Broly, spoilers, if Broly had died, I wouldn't have really cared. I wouldn't have cared at all. Also, Luffy, welcome to the stream. It's good to have you. Don't forget to smash that like button. Really appreciate it. Well, let's see. George said, I was honestly expecting more Kakarot from that movie at the very end when Goku said, I'm Goku, but Broly, call me Kakarot. I never thought I would see the day that that line would be said. That was an interesting line for sure. I feel like he only said that because that's what Vegeta used to say back in the day. Goku's more or less like, hey, I got a new rival. What's up? Somebody I can fight so eventually I can beat Jiren's ass. Um, I feel like they kind of already did the Son Goku with fucking Kale in Dragon Ball Super. I think they got that out of their system, so I think we're past that. But maybe we'll see more Kakarot in the future. Who knows? Matt said, if you try to say, oh, but they just have Dragon Balls or Whis, Dragon Ball still exists for Garlic Jr., thus tension arguments cease to exist. Dragon Ball still exists for Garlic Jr. Not a good argument. Your boy Garlic Jr. was literally planning on ixnaying Kami, just getting rid of Kami. Kami would have ate shit and died. Garlic Jr. wanted to get revenge on Kami. If he had succeeded in his plan, Kami would have died. The Dragon Balls would have went away. Game. No Dragon Balls. Still valid as fuck. He captured fucking Kami at the very beginning of the Garlic Jr. arc. The Dragon Ball tension was high because the Dragon Balls themselves were at risk during the Garlic Jr. arc. So I disagree with that point entirely, Matt. Kel said, are you referring to the laser from Resurrection F? I am. The little, like, laser ring or whatever. Because that's just a normal laser. It's not like a ki blast or anything like that. He did catch Goku by surprise, but we've seen people get hit in the back with a ki blast before and not know it was coming, and they just be like, oh, whatever. You know, like, it not really matter. I get that Goku was fatigued or whatever when he got hit by the laser in Resurrection F. Oh, it sure is Resurrection F. I think I might have said Battle of Gods by mistake. Yeah, the laser from Resurrection F. But I still feel like lasers and ki blasts are distinctly different, and that they just don't follow the same rules in Dragon Ball, like, at all. Matt said they were fairly important characters that were given a good amount of screen time. In reference to Chile and Limon. I mean, they exist. but I don't feel like they were like that cool. Like I could have went without them. You know what I mean? I don't think I could have. I don't feel like I needed them for the movie. They served a very specific plot purpose, and I feel like that plot purpose was to like ensure that Broly could go all out and to ensure that Broly had an out in case like shit went south. And that was it. Um, they also serve a purpose for like some levity, like some comedic relief. They also help to like humanize Broly's character, but they definitely felt more like narrative devices. I didn't fall in love with like Chile and Limon's characters. I don't feel like they did much more than serve direct story purposes, and that was it. I really didn't like fuck with them that much. They weren't bad at all, but I felt like I wasn't supposed to be rooting for them or anything. They were just there. I'm not even convinced that they're good people. You know, like Chile and Lemon, they did not like steal my heart. I was like, damn, you know, main characters for life. Let's see. Matt said this was Broly's movie, not Goku, not Vegeta. We ultimately are rooting to a certain extent for Broly. Disagree. Actually, just not how I felt. Then Luffy said, "Hey." Then Matt said, "Jet, you're the absolute worst with reading tension." Disagree again. Nani said, "Oh yeah, when Goku sealed Broly, that God paralysis move or what? Excuse me, or whatever. That was the hotness. That was one of my favorite new techniques to be in the movie. That was really cool." Then Matt said, "Purunga exists still." Purunga. Is that the guru guy that was on Planet Namek? And he said revive Kami? Purunga. Are you talking about like Namek Dragon Balls? Instead of like Earth Dragon Balls? I feel like if Kami had died and Garlic Jr. had gotten what he wanted, I don't think anybody would be making any Namek wishes anytime soon. Pretty sure Garlic Jr. would just kind of dick. Luffy said, get hit with a Ki Blast, -1 HP. Yeah, like, a lot of Ki Blasts are kind of negligible at, like, the level of training that, like, Goku and Vegeta them have hit. But lasers, I think, are just a totally different ball game that our characters, like, aren't ready for. Then Matt said, not everyone has to be an all-powerful fighter. True, I'm not saying that they'd have to be that. Kel said that laser went through him because he was tired from the fight, though he had won already, and he had his defenses down. What I'm saying is that if he had gotten hit by a Ki Blast instead of a laser, he would have like maybe fallen over. Like like it wouldn't have been a thing where it's like, oh shit, he got hit by he almost died. It would have been like in his base, tired, gets hit by the Ki Blast. What? But lasers in the Dragon Ball universe, Ki Blast kind of like hit like little grenades, but not like super strong grenades because of like the level of power our characters are at. So they can get hit by them and they blow up on impact, and then that's it. Lasers just shoot through shit, and our heroes have like no real defense against that. They just get hit by the laser and it goes through them and they like get dicked. Because lasers and Ki Blasts are like distinctly different things in Dragon Ball. Let's see. Um, let's see. Matt said also stop having the stream die. I apologize for like the stream quality. Let me make sure the Wi-Fi is connected. The Wi-Fi is connected. Um, I don't know. I'm working off of school Wi-Fi, so that can happen sometimes. I apologize if there have been like any weird interruptions. Matt said they were great characters. I mean, that's subjective. George said, so excited for Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle for Blue Gogeta and Broly to be released. I'd be excited if we got some of the new movie stuff inside of Dragon Ball Fighter Z. I wouldn't mind playing a Gogeta and having him be a very like key attack and feint heavy character, meaning that he has moves that look like he's doing one thing but he's really doing another, and having a lot of like Ki Blast based special moves. I feel like that'd be really cool for Gogeta Blue. For them to do movie Broly when we already have like the old movie Broly in Dragon Ball Fighter Z, I don't know how to feel about that. I don't know what they would do for his moveset necessarily. Let's see. So then Where I'm at. Kel said your stream be hecka lagging. I apologize for the lag. Like I said, I don't really have a lot of control over that. Then Matt said Namek Shinron. I feel like Garlic Jr. would kind of just roll over it. Then Luffy said, for real? I thought it was just my internet. I mean, if multiple people are having the issue, then it's probably my internet. I'm using the on-campus Wi-Fi. I don't have my own router, so I apologize for that. Let's see. Nani said, but wasn't she thick, though? They had a lot of butt shots at Chile of her just like bending over or whatever. Um, I don't know. She has like a slim thing going on. I'm more of a like thighs guy. She didn't have like the width. It was more of like an outward butt. I guess I don't know. Uh, Chile exists. I'll give her that. Matt said, "So why are you judging Chile and Lemon for not being able to contribute to the action that much then?" I didn't say that. I wasn't like, why wasn't Chile and Lemon fighting? Why weren't they fighting alongside Broly? Like, I never said anything like that. I said that their characters to me just like weren't particularly that interesting, and I didn't like put myself in their shoes. I wasn't like, dang, Chile and Lemon feel like my vehicle, like for the audience, for me to like be in the movie. I didn't look at them and say like I'm rooting for them and that I care about them. I felt like they just kind of existed and they felt like they were narrative tools to help like fulfill specific agendas in the movie. Like I think they were like, how are we gonna get Broly from like where he is in the story to like present day Earth for a fight? We need like a way for that to happen and we need like certain plot points to make sense. And they were like, what if we create these two characters as narrative devices in order to like ensure that the plot makes sense? And they were like, yeah, that's right. Okay, so we'll make Chile and Limon like essentially make the plot go the way that we want it to by having them like find Broly and like making it where like Broly can't be controlled and then giving Broly an out if the fight gets too rough. They'll just check off all these boxes so that we can write the story that we want. To me, they seem to exist specifically like to do that. And I didn't care about them otherwise outside of that. So that was my opinion on it. For like Chile and Lemon, they seem to just exist for narrative purposes. Matt said, I'm pretty certain you are the only person who dislikes Chile and Lemon, and are the only one to say that the tension isn't there for Broly. So, to me, Chile and Lemon, like I said, are like narrative devices. I'm not saying that I hated them, but I didn't like relate to them. I didn't go, damn, I can really put myself in Chile and Lemon's shoes. Dang, I really like care for Chile and Lemon and like want them to survive and like want them to do well. I didn't feel tense about them at all. If at any point Chile and Lemon had died, I wouldn't have personally cared. They just existed in the movie. Then Matt said proceeds to windmill with Gogeta. The feints. He's got the feints. And then Matt said, and you are actually the only one who defends the Garlic Jr. arc, even though you haven't watched it. I mean, it's true. I haven't seen the Garlic Jr. arc, but I feel like he could have won. Feel like he definitely could have won that arc. Kel said, I'd argue that the laser was weaker than any key attack because it was made by a little ring that the guy had, and I don't think that lasers have any significant difference from key attacks. Heavy disagree. Heavy disagree. Ki in Dragon Ball is like an energy that is emitted by like living things that you can learn to like master and harness and harden your body against. And in training, on occasion, Goku will fire Ki Blast at himself in order to like toughen his body and harden his body against Ki attacks. He's able to, because Ki is like a natural thing you develop, actually like train up your body. You can like make yourself better at resisting Ki and generating Ki and protecting yourself from Ki. Lasers are lasers. Like it's a very different thing. Like lasers are not like a thing that like you generate from your body and you have like a natural energy that you can make to defend against. The Daizenshu, which is like the official guidebooks to a lot of like the Dragon Ball techniques and characters, talks about how certain like barrier based techniques allow you to defend yourself from Ki with Ki. Like as long as your energy output is like greater than like the energy coming at you, you're able to like use your own ki to shield yourself from like a ki attack. But lasers aren't ki. So you can harden yourself up against ki as much as you want and like make like ki barriers and like shit like that. But the ki versus the laser, it doesn't necessarily just work out. The closest thing we have to like Ki being like a laser is whenever Ki does like piercing based things. Like Frieza's like death beam, but that's still like Frieza using Ki, so it still has to follow the rules and properties of Ki. Where lasers aren't limited by that at all. In this, like Goku can slap a Ki blast, but he can't slap a laser because that's just not how lasers work. Like, like a laser would just go through his hand because that's just how lasers are. Let's see. Then Nani said, Nyx likes Ben 10. What do you expect, Matt? Then Matt said, Ben 10 is fine. Alien Force is fine. Anything after that, with the exception of maybe Ultimate Alien, is bad. Ben 10 Omniverse is the best Ben 10 series so far. I gotta give it to my boys on Omniverse. They put their foot in that. Good ass Ben 10 series. Nani said he hasn't watched it. What the fuck? Imagine. So for the Garlic Jr. arc, I watched the first and last episodes of the arc, and I watched all the last time on Dragon Ball Z's in between, where the announcer's like, so then this happened, and now we're gonna start up the episode. And then I would go to the next episode, and it would be like, and this happened, and then start up the episode. So I got the beginning and the end in full from like watching the whole episodes, and then for the middle, I took up those little like recap segments, and then I also like read summaries and I looked up characters in the Daizenshu to get like a good idea of like their powers and like what the characters are like and shit like that. But I felt like I got like a good idea of like Garlic Jr.'s plan, what he was trying to accomplish, like how he went about like trying to accomplish it, and the things that ended up cucking Garlic Jr. in the long run to prevent him from succeeding. Matt said, doesn't matter if he could have won. If the arc drags its feet the entire time, then it's bad. Um, so the Garlic Jr. arc, I can't speak too much for the stuff that I didn't see. Um, could it have worked on pacing? Probably. I imagine there was a lot of filler. Because anything that wasn't super important to the plot, the narrator wouldn't really even talk about. He would just like show clips of it. So it would be like he's talking about how like the earth got fucked over by like the black water mist, and then it'll show like Roshi like just fucking around. you know I didn't see any of the parts of like the side characters being turned evil, just going on misadventures, but I also didn't want to see any of those parts. I think it's a cool concept, but miss me. Let's see. Then Matt said summaries don't justify the content. Um, from what I've seen and like what I know, Garlic Jr. just seems really capable if he just had played his cards right. Especially with like how his plan was going. He ends up getting cucked by his own move most of the time. And I just feel like he needs to focus on using his trap move. I keep forgetting what it's called, but it essentially puts your opponent in a bottle and like shrinks them down. That shit's the hotness. Fucking love that move. Um, I feel like he should like use that more intelligently and work alongside his guys a little bit better, and he can kill it. Matt said, by that logic, you can say Frieza fights Goku for 5 minutes and not comprehend what that actually means. Um, from like the announcer like saying it, you're not wrong. A similar thing would happen if you tried to do the recaps for the Tournament of Power, where they're like, there's only like so many minutes left in the tournament, and this, and that are happening. I feel like the Tournament of Power does a good job because you'd see the announcers say that over the course of multiple episodes. Dragon Ball Z would do something similar. Yeah, like you would hear the announcer say that, and you hear him say it again, and you hear him say it again, and you hear him say it again. Because the Frieza fight's like 8 episodes, I think. So you would still have to watch all those episode recaps. Of course, you're not gonna get like the full like level of actually watching the show. That doesn't mean you don't understand what happened. You know what I mean? Kel said, are you saying that if Goku was prepared for the laser, that it would go through him anyway? I think if Goku was prepared for the laser, that nigga would move. He would get out of the way. Like, I don't think Goku and Vegeta would just sit there and let themselves get hit by a laser. I think they would, like, dodge it. I think they would recognize that it's not ki, and just be like, no, and like get out of the way. If there's like an example of them getting hit by lasers, like just like tanking it or whatever, and they being like lasers and not actually being like key blast or whatever, I would like look at it and like accept the evidence. I'd be like, oh, you're right. But until I see that, lasers seem pretty fucking good. Let's see. So then Matt said, in before you remember that all the Frieza Corps fire laser guns and they do nothing. I guess I need to like see a clip. And how I mean the big thing is, do the laser shots hit? Do they like actually hit them? My argument is that if you hit Goku or Vegeta with a laser goes through. They just get hit by the laser. But Goku and Vegeta are super fast. Most of the time, they can just dodge a laser shot. That doesn't really matter most of the time. But they're not getting hit. Getting hit is what matters. Then Matt said, Jet, I'm going to regret everything. But we are watching the Garlic Jr. arc next chance we get just to prove a point. I'm down. I'm totally down to watch the Garlic Jr. arc. He said 5 minutes equals 17 episodes. He said one summary equals one summary. Matt said the time investment impacts enjoyability. Pacing impacts enjoyability. That's true. Then Matt said, if something feels slow and is taking forever, or it feels pointless, cough, cough, Garlic Jr., cough, cough, then it's bad. I mean, I understand where you're coming from, Matt, on that. We'll watch it. We'll see if it's actually like as rough as it might be. Because I mean, we haven't seen it yet. Then True Guardian Works said, greetings and salutations. Yo, Scavenger, welcome to the stream. It's good to have you. Feel free to smash that like button if you haven't already. Spoilers. We're talking about the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie. That's become like the main topic. But right now we're doing an in general hangout. So feel free to talk about whatever you would like to. I'm open to discussion points, questions. I treat these like an AMA. You can legitimately ask me whatever you want, and I'll like have some kind of answer for it. Then Scavenger said, already smashed that like button. Thank you kindly for smashing that like button. Truly appreciate it. Boom, 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 boom. Do 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 do. Then Kel said, "Let's assume that Goku was like, nah, fam, I'm gonna tank this laser,' and he let the laser hit him, but was prepared for it. Would it go through him?" My question to that would be, why wouldn't it? What would Goku do to stop a laser? Not a ki blast, a laser. Like what? It does he tense his muscles? Does he like make like a force field out of ki? I think the key force field may or may not stop a laser. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if we've seen that before. But I think his body is not stopping a laser. I think that laser goes zhink. Uh, and then Guardian said, and what are your thoughts on Dragon Ball through the years? Like in general, I can't speak much about like the original Dragon Ball series, like when he was a kid. I haven't really seen a lot of it. Seen some of it, but not a lot of it. Dragon Ball Z, I've seen all of Kai, not all of Z. So based on what I've seen of Kai, um, I do like Z. I feel like Z had a lot of like continuous upping the ante, but I feel like the best moments of Z are from very early Z. Like the Saiyan arc and the Namek arc are the best arcs of Dragon Ball Z. And the other arcs aren't bad, like the Cell arc and the Buu arc. They're just not as good as this amount of like tension and suspense that you get in those beginning arcs. Those are like lasting levels of tension and suspense that like to this day are still like some of the best Dragon Ball moments, like period, where Cell and Buu have trouble trying to like recreate that like level of like getting you like invested in the character's growth and like seeing like how they're gonna overcome an impossible obstacle. Because Frieza definitely proved to be like a dang, like an insurmountable wall. How is Goku gonna surpass him? And I feel like through Goku's training in like early Z, you like really feel like Goku deserves the victory when he gets it. It makes sense how Goku wins in the end against Frieza, and I feel like we haven't had a good setup like that since. Uh, and then when it comes to like GT, like Dragon Ball GT, didn't watch the very first arc of Dragon Ball GT. I watched, I think, like everything after that though. Um, The Shadow Dragon arc is probably the best arc of GT, not gonna lie. Super Android 17 has a really cool premise, but like Fusion Reborn, it had trouble actually capitalizing on it. But it was better than Fusion Reborn. Pretty much like a very similar plot, but actually better. Um, but GT, for the most part, was like, okay, I guess. Um, Not anything to call home about necessarily. Then with Super, with Dragon Ball Super has been pretty interesting so far. I feel like the new characters they introduce from other universes are like the most interesting parts of Dragon Ball Super are the new characters and the unique transformations. Giving everybody their own like unique thing that they can do that other characters either can't do or refuse to do is really good. I felt like Goku had too many of those. He had too many like things that only he could do but other people couldn't. And now I feel like they're like spreading them out. Like, Vegeta gets like evolved Super Saiyan Blue, and Future Trunks gets Super Saiyan Ikari. And Gohan's mystic form is for whatever reason a transformation now in the anime. I don't know why it's like that. But I'm glad that everyone gets like their own little like thing that they can do that makes them unique. That's I think the best thing of Super so far. Matt said, Jet, look at your emails. Tomorrow, Matt, I will look at my email tomorrow. He said you can talk to us and do that at the same time, trying to get me to read wall reading. Nani said greetings and salutations, doing the scavenger intro. Yo, Nani, good to see you. Scavenger said for me, my favorite is when he was a kid, then Kai, then regular Z, then GT, then Super. Oh, to like rate them? I could only rate like Kai and Super because they're the only ones that I've seen in full. And then it would be a question of which did I like better, Kai or Super. Probably Kai. I probably enjoyed Kai more than Super. The Saiyan arc and the Namek arc were pretty thick. Not gonna lie. They're probably like my favorite arcs in Dragon Ball period so far. Kel said, what I'm trying to say is that regardless of if it's like a laser or a ki attack, they're both outputting force. There's no magical property about ki itself that causes damage. There's no magical property about ki itself. So, ki is like straight up a supernatural kind of energy thing. It's not magic, because in a similar way that lasers and ki are different, magic and ki have also been shown to be like distinctly different. People who use magic aren't necessarily like shooting ki blasts and shit like that. So, I would say that the way that ki blasts work is distinctly different from how like a laser works. There are things that can happen, like you can get hit by a ki blast that like resuscitates your heart. Ki can be like absorbed by like androids, but if an android put their hand out to like absorb a laser, that laser would just shoot through their fucking hand. Like lasers and ki have distinctly different properties because ki follows like a certain set of rules and lasers seem to follow a different set of rules. Like, that's my argument. Matt said it's already tomorrow. That is true that it's already tomorrow. What I mean by I'll check my email tomorrow, I mean I'll check my email when I wake up. That's what I really mean. Kel said Goku can take the force of attacks that can destroy mountainsides casually. So Goku, if he's prepared for it, can take a little laser ring no problem. I disagree. I think Goku can dodge a laser ring. I think if Goku is prepared for an incoming laser, he can like move out of the way and not get hit by the laser. But I think if you just shoot a laser at Goku and Goku's like, I'm just gonna tank it, I'm not as sure that Goku would just be able to like tank the laser. Because lasers and ki just behave differently. And I I don't think, is there any evidence to suggest that like they wouldn't get fucked by lasers? Vegeta has done some laser training. The more I think about it, in his little like gravity room, he's done training, but that training was not about tanking lasers. It's Vegeta like jumping around, dodging lasers. Like Vegeta's really good at dodging laser attacks. But that doesn't mean that if Vegeta got hit by those lasers, that he would just necessarily brush it off. Is there any footage on YouTube of Vegeta like dodging the lasers in the gravity room or whatever, um, and then getting hit by one of them and then being okay? That would help support the argument that they can like tank the lasers, but I don't think they can. I just need evidence. Like, if you guys can, like, show me a time where they tanked a laser, not a key attack, a laser, then I would be like, yeah, I understand where you're coming from. But I just think lasers are different. It's like a straight up, like, piercing thing. It's like a real energy attack versus, like, a key, like, energy attack. Then Ryan said the sun is a deadly laser. Yo, Ryan, welcome to the stream. It's good to have you. Ryan, I asked you a few questions on Facebook, and you didn't hit your boy up. So I know that you're still free tomorrow at 9, which is great to hear. But Ryan, my big question was, should I be watching the new episodes of Young Justice so that we can talk about them tomorrow? Or should we watch those new episodes of Young Justice together? That's my question, Ryan. You gotta hit me up with that, like, information. Nani said, do Nick hits the whip and kills Broly? Could I hit the whip and kill Broly? I feel like Broly could probably deflect my whip with the Nene, and he would just dominate. Matt said, Trunks deflects an energy attack from a gun. Are you talking of an energy attack from a gun? What? You threw me when you said energy attack from a gun. You mean like a laser blast? Then Ryan said, watch them as you wish. Then he said, my sister and I were watching them, but our connection was lost. Oh, okay. Cool. Do you want to watch them together, Ryan, is the big question. So my question is, should I wait to watch them with you, or should I just watch them like whenever, and then we can just talk about them? Then Matt said, Jet, the link. A link didn't come up, Matt, like in the live chat. So if you did send a link, it just like didn't show up on my screen. Then Nani said, don't shoot, this man isn't black. What? Kel said, why would Bulma make a gravity room for Vegeta that shoots lasers that could potentially significantly harm him if they can't handle non-key attacks? Because Vegeta's fucking crazy. Back in the Namek arc, Vegeta learned that like Zenkais were a thing, and that you could be like put on like the edge of your life, and like as long as you didn't die from it, you could like come back, right? Also, they have like sensu beans and shit like that. Like they don't live in a world where if you take a fatal wound, you gotta necessarily go to the hospital. You keep like some sensu beans on hand. Vegeta gets hit wrong by a laser. He's like, oh, fuck, sensu bean. And then he chews it, and he's like, oh, I'm just better now. It's like I didn't even get shot. You know what I mean? So it's like lower stakes. It doesn't matter as much if Vegeta gets hit, as long as it's like sensu being on standby, and you just pop that shit in that nigga's mouth, bam, he's better. You know what I mean? Let's see. And also, Vegeta could purposely have it set up like that because he's like, if I do get hit, Zenkai, you know, it just, if I get hit, maybe the simulation like stops, and then I like take a breather and then just fucking get back to normal. Ryan said, but he is an alien. You mean Vegeta's an alien? True. Then Nani said, it was from the Goku Black arcs. Trunks says that. Oh, don't shoot, this man isn't black. He sure does say that, Nani. You right. Excuse me. Ryan said, shoot him before he eats your dog. Excuse me. Matt said, is it there now, the link? The link is not up for me, Matt. It just says, is it there now? And that's it. Nani said, don't shoot, this man isn't black, when they saw Goku. I get you. I recognize the reference now. Solid quote. Ryan said, beans, but he typed it in the aesthetic way, so it's beans. Matt said, type Frieza soldiers shooting, select Trunks kills Frieza soldiers. Okay. Matt said, I'm tired of listening to laser discussion. Fair enough. So, Frieza soldiers shooting, and then select Trunks kills Frieza soldiers. So is it Trunks owns Frieza soldiers? So it's like a 2-minute video. Kel said, what is the difference between lasers and key attacks? Real quick, I'm going to pause the video. Lasers are like a real thing that aren't like made from your body. Like the way that ki is portrayed in the show and in like the Daizenshu, right? Like the official guidebooks, is that ki attacks are things that are like produced from your body from an energy that everyone has, and if you like use your ki correctly, you can defend yourself from other ki with your ki. And Goku and Vegeta have trained their bodies by hitting themselves with ki attacks in order to fortify their body against getting hit with a ki attack. Lasers are lasers that you can't just flex your muscles and a laser not penetrate your body. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're fundamentally different things. But I'm about to watch this video that Matt sent, that Matt told me about, and hopefully this video will like give us like some reasoning to like what would happen. Okay. So this is like a 2-minute video that I'm watching. I'm putting it at 2 times speed. Okay. I'm trying to get to the important part. Okay. So homeboy shoots a laser. Straight up, yeah. Trunks just straight up is deflecting them with his hand. I guess you can just straight up deflect lasers. Yeah. But can you tank them? Like, so that shows that you can definitely deflect lasers the same way that you deflect ki blasts. I guess my question would be, can you tank them? Like if Goku or Trunks or anybody else were to just sit there and let themselves get hit by a laser, would they be able to just be like, oh, I'm fine? Or do you have to deflect them? Because that's like another question. Because my assumption is that they would just dodge lasers, but apparently you can just go like and just knock them away. So let's see. Then Ryan said Frieza. Then Matt said yes. Then Ryan said lasers have beams. And then Matt said ki has beams. Then Ryan said use the beams to build a structure. 120 seconds, 2 times speed, 60 seconds. Then Matt said Jet, stop. They are the same. You are a toy. Yo, that actually is a good point. I think Matt and I do have an interesting Woody Buzz style banter. I've never made that comparison until you made that comparison. Which one of us is Woody and which one of us is Buzz? I actually prefer the Space Rangers. Let's see. Ryan said Key Blast sounds like Keyblade. Then Matt said X-Blade. I read a comment on a Kingdom Hearts 3 like gameplay video that I watched that I really liked, where this guy was like, yo, Ratatouille's in this game. This game's great. And it made me laugh. I don't know why, but that comment felt genuine, but also like hella memey, and it was solid. Right now we got 5 viewers and 7 likes. Can we get this video to 5 viewers and 8 likes? Truly appreciate it. Then Matt said Chi Blade. Then Kel said the laser is coming on contact with his hand, and he is able to move it out of the way. So lasers have no significant effect on the body. That depends on how deflecting attacks works. When they deflect the attack, is it as simple as, get that shit out of here? Or is it like, I focus ki in my hand, and then when I like slap my hand against the attack, it like knocks the attack away? You know? Because even then, it's still like you're using ki to even out the attack, rather than your body just taking it. So you may be able to defend yourself from an attack using ki, but that doesn't necessarily mean that if you were to just stand there and just take it, that it would just like not hurt you. You know what I mean? That's what I'm getting at. Then Nani said, so turret spiders. Turret spiders. Then Matt said, not chi, ki, X. Then Scavenger said, Jet, you're Buzz. Oh, I'm Buzz? Hey, Space Ranger. Ryan said, turbo lasers are fast, yet slow. Then Matt said, Jet, what do you gain arguing that ki blasts and lasers aren't the same? Do we have evidence that ki blasts and lasers are the same and have the same properties. I feel like if we don't, then we shouldn't assume that we do. I'm not arguing that for certain it's not a thing, but I am arguing that I don't know for certain and that I need evidence to support that they can just tank a laser. And until I have that evidence, I don't assume that they can tank a laser. Then Kel said if he was focusing ki into his hand, there'd be a little aura around his hand, signifying he's using ki. I don't think that's true. So, an example of why I don't think that's true. In the Daisenshu, the official guidebooks for Dragon Ball, they explain that flying is just emitting ki all around your body to allow you to like fly into the air, right? You're like continually emitting ki. But the way that they portray flying in Dragon Ball isn't like you see an aura shoot down out of their body and it like follows them. They do that sometimes when they're like flying faster. You'll see like the ki, but you don't see it constantly as they fly. And I think the reason why you don't see it constantly as they fly is sometimes when you emit ki, it doesn't create like that visible aura effect. Also, that's just a lot to draw all the time, I imagine. That's probably the real reason. So I feel like even if the mechanism for him deflecting the attack is him focusing ki in his hand, that doesn't mean that you'll see the aura around his hand or anything like that to necessarily like signify it. Nani said, so basically Jet wins. Not necessarily. Ryan said, but we need an anime character to stand there explaining shit, which seems to be like a popular trend now, in a lot of like anime shows, is to have someone go, what? But how'd you do that? And it's like, well, I sped up the card in front of the card that I slowed down. And so, I mean, it all depends. Then Matt said, apparently because Jet is too dense otherwise. Then Scavenger said, I agree with Jet. Then Matt said, probably why Jet doesn't like Chile, because nobody in the movie explained why she was a good character. Chile was a plot device. She existed in order to fulfill functions in the plot and to do not much more than that. And Chile, I don't think will have any significant plot stuff in the future until she maybe dies. Maybe then Broly will achieve like a new form or something. But Chile is not like that. She's important to the plot, but that's because she's made to be a plot device. But I didn't sympathize with Chile. I don't even think I was supposed to sympathize with Chile. She like just exists to push the plot forward, and she's not that good of a character. She serves her purpose. She's not a bad character. She just kind of exists. Matt said if that was the case, anyone could have done that. There wasn't a reason to give her personality. They needed reasons to explain why Chile and Limon would like do the actions that they do. So why is Chile like a thief that sympathizes with Broly? Well, for one, I don't really understand why she had to be a thief. They they wanted a reason for why Chile would join the Frieza Force, and they needed a reason why Chile would then run away from the Frieza Force. So they were like, what if she was already like wanted by the Galactic Patrol, so she joins the Frieza Force to not get cut by the Galactic Patrol? And then they were like, well, why would Chile ever run away with like Broly? Like, what would be the point? And it's like, well, maybe if she's like wanted by the Galactic Patrol and by the Frieza Force, that she would like want a place where she felt safe, where neither of them could touch her. So she like joins up with Broly, the same reason why she joined up with the Frieza Force, to get that extra like level of like security. Like no one's gonna like fuck with me. So that's the only reason why they made her a thief. So the next question is, why would they make Chile sympathize with Broly? They needed Chile to sympathize with Broly so that Chile could facilitate for like two things. One, for Broly to be able to cut loose later on in the movie. She does something in the movie that I'm not going to spoil that allows for Broly to cut loose and like show off like his ultimate power that otherwise would have been impossible based off of earlier things set up in the plot. And two, Chile needs to sympathize with Broly so that Chile can give Broly an out later on in the film. When Broly is like in danger, Chile needs to actually care about Broly to prevent him from eating shit and dying. But I feel like those explanations exist specifically to make the plot make sense, and that Chile and Lemon exist specifically to make the plot make sense, not to make them necessarily good characters. Scavenger, well, first Ryan said Chile is a tall country, and then Scavenger said Chile is a country. Then Matt said, so they have character development, making them decent to good characters. They were just there. They're just I'm not saying they're bad characters. I'm just saying I didn't sympathize with those characters. I didn't really fuck with them that hard. They just existed as plot devices to me. I didn't like feel for them. And then Ryan said, but Goku is a monkey, like Luffy from One Piece. And Matt said, Goku just fights strong guys. Chile is already better than the main character. Goku has some interesting depth on what he's like willing to do to fight strong guys. Because I feel like Goku has limits. He's willing to put the Earth at risk for a fight only so much. And I feel like Goku does hit a point where he goes like, all right, I fucked up. The the Earth is like actually gonna get destroyed. I need to like be serious. Um, Goku isn't like I'll fight strong guys no matter what, and there's like nothing that would make me ever want to not fight a strong guy. He like does actually take into like certain things into consideration, which is where the tension in Dragon Ball comes from. I rarely am like, is Goku gonna survive? It's more of, are the people Goku cares about going to survive? That's where like the stakes end up coming in. Let's see. Matt said Frieza could have just taken the device and broke it himself. True. But Frieza, I don't think, wanted to not be able to control Broly. A matter of fact, Frieza got like visibly upset at Paragus when he thought that Broly was like an uncontrollable monster that could like kill them at any point. So Frieza actually wanted the inhibitor device to be a thing. If anything, I don't think Frieza would have destroyed the device. He just would have killed Paragus. He would have like stopped Paragus from using the device. And I don't even think Frieza would have done that. I think Frieza would have allowed Paragus to use the device and like stop Broly. So I don't think Frieza would have broken it. That would have been a weird thing for Frieza to do in the plot. He would have preferred Broly live and for him to be able to control Broly and to like make Broly like his slave warrior for like the foreseeable future. Let's see. Uh, where am I at? Matt said no need to involve Chile. I think there's a good reason to involve Chile. Then Scavenger said Vegeta is a plant, vegetable. Matt doesn't fuck with vegetables. Let's see. Matt then said, but she was involved. Why? Because they were made to explore Broly's new personality. He could have interacted with any random Frieza soldiers, which more or less is what happened. He interacted with Chile and Lemon, who were just two random Frieza soldiers that I don't care about because they exist to push the plot forward and not much else. You know what other ways we can see Broly's personality? His interactions with Paragus, his interactions with Frieza, his interactions with other Frieza soldiers, his interactions with Goku, his interactions with Vegeta. Broly doesn't just sit in a box and not like interact with anybody. We get to see Broly's personality. I don't know what you're talking about. We don't necessarily need Chile and Lemon to see that Broly is more or less like a naive brute, an innocent but naive brute. Don't need Chile and Lemon. They exist to push the plot forward specifically and to make the plot make sense. I feel like they came up with plot points first and then added Chile and Lemon afterwards in order to make those plot points make sense. They knew what they wanted to happen in the story. They just needed a way to connect those dots together, and Chile and Lemon exist to do that, and they serve their purpose fine, but that doesn't make them good to great characters. They serve a purpose in the narrative, and that's it. Don't really care about them beyond that point. Let's see. Ryan said Goku would eat a dog to fight strong guys. Goku and Gohan both seem to really like animals. I don't think Goku would eat a dog to fight strong guys. Matt said they are criminals, referring to Chile and Lemon, but they aren't faceless evil people. Sure, they have a personality. That didn't make me care about them, Matt. I understand that you vibed with them more than me. I'm not saying that's like a bad thing. Subjectively, from my point of view, my opinion, I just feel like Chile and Lemon served plot purposes, but that didn't make them like characters that I really fuck with, or characters that I want to see in the future, or characters that I like sympathize with, or characters that I felt like I looked at like the movie through their point of view, or characters who I felt like tension on like throughout like the movie, like felt like tension for. They didn't do that. They like for me, they just served their purpose in the narrative, and that's all they did for me. It's totally fine, Matt, if you felt like they were like deeper and that you really vibed with their characters and that you could relate to them and their personalities and that you felt for them, but I just didn't. I just didn't have that. So I don't give them that hard of like a like thumbs up. You know what I mean? Let's see. So boom, 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 boom. Kel said, "What different property between key and lasers causes lasers to like affect Saiyans?" And then Ryan just says lasers. What different properties cause them to affect Saiyans? One thing that I keep pushing about key versus lasers is that Goku and Vegeta have trained themselves to take Ki blasts, to get hit with Ki blasts and like toughen their bodies to sustain getting hit by Ki blasts. Ki blasts most of the time have a more impact based force that's like an explosion hitting your body, like a small energy grenade almost. It's more of a brute force smashing kind of damage. Lasers are more of a piercing kind of thing that aren't related to Ki and aren't necessarily like based on the same rules and properties of Ki. Ki is something that gets more of an explanation where lasers just kind of are pew, 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 you know what I mean? I've seen Goku in the movie get hit by a laser and the laser go through his body. I know that Goku's body isn't just durable enough on its own to tank a laser because I've seen it go through him. Like that's my argument. Because even if they can deflect lasers, I don't think that they can just sit there and get shot by them. I think the lasers just go through them because their bodies, them being Saiyans, doesn't make the lasers not lasers, is what I'm arguing. And lasers and Ki do seem to be different things. Let's see. So Matt said Chile and Lemon have morals. That's why they start questioning Paragus' decisions regarding Broly. I mean, yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying I don't really think they're like really good characters in my opinion. They serve their plot purposes and like that's it. Also, I noticed that we're at 6 viewers and 7 likes. Can we get this video to 6 viewers and 8 likes? I definitely would appreciate it. Let's see. Ryan said, but the other guy was not sure. I would like him to be a man, or he could be a great person. And I cannot, I like you that you have a great. And then a thumbs up. Ryan, what was that? What was that sentence? I have no idea what you just said. Matt said Jet. So essentially, no matter who interacts with Broly, they are deemed bad because they are effectively nobodies. What? Like I said, I'm not saying that Chile and Liman are like bad characters, but I'm not saying that they're like exceptional characters or that they're great characters or even that they're good characters. They're okay. To me, they serve like their narrative purpose in the plot. They like make sure that certain story beats happen that the way they're supposed to. But I feel like they exist solely to serve those narrative purposes. They don't actually like do much more than that. I don't feel for them. I don't think the story guides you in a way where you're supposed to feel for them. I don't feel tense for them. And I don't care about what happens to their characters. Let's see. So let's see. Scrolling down. Nani said, what's that on your neck? These are headphones. I put these headphones on when Matt wanted me to watch a scene of Trunks deflecting a laser blast. And that's just to avoid any like copyright issues from like playing like the sound. Matt said, because that's what you're saying is that we can't introduce new characters because they won't have significance needed to carry them to good character status. That's not what I'm saying at all, Matt. What I'm saying is those characters exist to serve a narrative purpose, but they don't, in my opinion, do much beyond that. They're not character like what do you look for from like a mainstay character? It's not just personality. It's the concept that you like feel for that character. You can have a character with a defined personality and they not be a character that you necessarily like feel for or relate to or care about. And I feel like that is a significant like issue. You know what would have made me care about Chile a lot more? If I felt like Chile and Broly had like an actual connection. Chile clearly cares for Broly. Lemon clearly cares for Broly. Does Broly care about Chile and Lemon? To an extent. Broly doesn't want to see Chile and Lemon bullied, and you see that clearly through when Broly defends Chile and Lemon from like a Frieza soldier. But I feel like Broly would have done that for most individuals who were just nice. Nothing in the movie to me indicated that Broly cares significantly more for Chile and Lemon than any other character who's just a nice person. Like, like I don't think Broly is at like the huge like, oh man, I like really like fuck with these guys. These guys are great. I feel like if you felt that Broly cared about Lemon and Chile just as much as they cared about him, I feel like that would have created like a better connection for like me as someone in the audience looking at the story. Because I'd be like, oh, they actually exist as something that like Broly will fight harder to protect, and they could be interesting points in the future in other ways. Like that's where I'm coming from on that. Let's see. Ryan said, "From my point of view, the Jedi are evil." Then Scavenger retracted a message. I'm not sure what he said. Matt said, "Is a character a function in a fighting game, or are they actually important?" So I'm not sure if you're using that as an analogy, if you're using that like metaphorically. Like, are we talking about characters in fighting games? Or are you referring to the characters in the shows and in the movies? Like, are they just there to fight, or are they like important? Like, I'm not sure what your argument is just from the phrasing of how you said it. So could you please rephrase that question? Then Ryan said, narrative is not the best way to get them to be a good thing to be. I understood what you meant, but you just added like some extra to be's in there. Um, them being narrative devices isn't enough to like really define them as being characters that you care about, if that makes sense, Matt. That's where I'm coming from. I don't care about Chile and Lemon. I just feel like they serve a purpose to check boxes in the narrative, but that's it. I don't like relate to or feel for them, nor do I feel like the story really drives me to do so. Then Scavenger said, "I'm going to leave. Good night. Have a wonderful night, Scavenger. Thank you for tuning in. Truly appreciate it." Then Matt said, "By the way, special beam cannon. Uh, special beam cannon is a key attack where Piccolo like focuses the key and like the points of his finger and then like like fires them off." And then Nani said, "So basically, Jet is a laser." Then Kel said, "Well, Goku, woo." It scrolled down a little too far. Kel said, "Well, Goku in the Frieza saga deflected death beams, which are piercing key attacks. Death beams are piercing key attacks, but they are key attacks. The fact that they're key attacks matters, because we have straight up seen that if a key attack isn't strong enough, based off of the output of key energy by the individual, that they can be no-diffed. Cell no-diffs, a Destructo Disc, Jiren no-diffs like a Spirit Bomb, like... Key directly relates to like the strength of the person like manipulating it and like shooting it, where lasers are not defined by that. You can be weak as fuck and shoot like a laser gun. It becomes a difference between like a battle of like two individuals like actual strengths, where your key isn't going to necessarily be beyond like what you can actually output by like hitting someone, where with a laser gun all bets are off. It doesn't matter like how strong or weak you are, a laser is a laser, and a laser just kind of like fucks. Now we know that like Goku for the most part is not fucked over by bullets. And like the old Dragon Ball cartoon, they get shot with bullets all the time. It wouldn't matter. Bullets more or less just bounce off them. But bullets are like physical objects that hit like what I can only imagine or is like really dense skin, I guess. and they just kind of like at best like leave like abrasions and scratches when they get like hit by bullets. Even Goku in Super has been like scratched by a bullet. He doesn't no diff them in a way where it's like, oh, no damage to my body. You know what I mean? Lasers aren't like a blunt physical object that just hit you and like can bounce off. I don't care like how dense your skin is. A laser is like a piercing energy based thing that's not defined by how strong you or your opponent is. A laser is defined by like how powerful the gun itself is. You know what I mean? And I get that Goku can survive like planet busting attacks and like shit like that, but it has to do with his strength versus the strength of his opponent, which determines the strength of like their key attacks. Where lasers have nothing to do with like how strong Goku is. They're lasers. Like that's what I'm arguing. Is that like a laser in itself isn't just gonna be like a, oh well, because I'm really strong, a laser isn't gonna fuck me. You know what I mean? Um, so then Kel's, I already read that Kel statement. Ryan said the best way to make sure you have your shoes are your favorite shoes in your head like this one. Then Nani said Ryan might be on crack or meth, maybe Molly. Then Kel said the reason the laser went through him was because Goku was weak and had his defenses low, and the laser was piercing. It wasn't because it wasn't key the laser hit him, it was because it was piercing. Lasers always are piercing. I don't. My argument is that Frieza's death beam, right? And like Destructo Disc and like stuff like that. Key attacks that are inherently piercing. If you're stronger than that, you can just no diff the attack if it's key, because it's a difference between your strength and your opponent's strength. That's why when Cell gets hit by a Destructo Disc in the neck, a Destructo Disc being proven to be something that can like cut through mountains and like slice shit in half, it hits Cell in his neck and Cell doesn't move, and the like Destructo Disc is just like nullified. It just doesn't matter. It's because they're like straight up just saying Cell has more ki, he's stronger than Krillin. Cell's ki is beyond Krillin's ki. So even though Krillin like threw a disc that slices through mountains and shit, it's definitely like a piercing cutting based attack. Cell can no diff it because he's stronger than Krillin. But with laser guns, you no longer get that like analogy. You no longer can just be like, well, Cell is like stronger than like lasers. It's like what? Like it's just, lasers are just things that like naturally just pierce through and like just fuck things. And you can like build up your body. You can get like as strong as you want, but a laser pierces through things. That's just what it does. So like that is my argument. Now apparently they can deflect lasers. I don't entirely understand how that works, but we have seen in canon, in Resurrection F, that a laser can hit you and like can go through your body. And that makes sense because your body, it doesn't matter how strong you are, a laser is a laser. Like that's my argument. You can be really muscular, but a laser is a laser. Then Ryan said, but I don't think you should watch the movie with him in a little bit of the way I think you should watch the game with me, and I cannot. It really does have something else to be done. Ryan's doing the Dookie Dropper style post where you're just saying everything. This is just getting really crazy. Dookie Dropper followed him with another crazy post. Ryan then says something about caring about the lawn. Dookie Dropper hit us with another crazy post. It's just back and forth, just like crazy shit. This is very interesting. Um, Mangoes are often too good. Oh gosh. So we finally get to a Ryan post, and he said, "But what if your skin is ablative? Is that what you're saying? Ablative armor? Do laser penetration amp fitness is the same thing to me in my mind about it all over." It's still a nonsense statement. Excuse me, but it kind of tried to relate to what we were saying. Dookie Dropper then also said a nonsense thing that connects. He's like, "Pierce lasers are the 2 days. Something, something, something." Gosh. It's an interesting level of nonsense. Kel said, "I'm not saying that Goku can tank any laser ever. I'm saying specifically the laser that hit Goku in Resurrection F's movie. if he was prepared for it, it wouldn't do anything. I don't think that's true. I think laser weapons are designed to pierce through people's bodies. I'm not saying that, like, because there are lasers that are like laser pointers where they're lasers but they don't like pierce anything, right? But Goku's body can only be so durable against certain things, I believe. And I feel like if you shoot Goku with a laser that's meant to go through people's bodies, it will go through Goku's body. Unless he deflects it, because apparently they can deflect lasers. We like know they can do that. If there's any footage of like Goku and Vegeta getting hit by lasers and them just like no diffing it, then I'll be like, oh, I was wrong. I understand that I messed up. But like until I see that, I am pretty convinced that if you like shot them with a laser that's meant to like go through a person, that they would get shot through by that laser. That laser would just cuck the shit out of them. Boom. Let's see. Ryan said laser is the only way to make sure you have time to come back from your new job. Then Dookie Dropper said, but what if lasers are like a big hit and they have to do it to smell and smell good? And then Ryan said, smell like a fascist egg and cheese fries are the most delicious. Goodness, is the live chat's like actually just like crazy stuff. Kel said, well, death beams are meant to go through things too. But that goes back to the key argument. The idea that like key attacks directly relate to the level of strength of the user doing them. Frieza doing a death beam is stronger than Krillin doing a death beam, even if they're doing the exact same technique. Goku's Kamehameha is stronger than Roshi's Kamehameha, even though they're doing the same technique. The output of like how strong it is and whether or not it's able to pierce through and whether or not it like impacts the other person directly relates to how strong the two characters are when they face off against each other. Like that's my argument. So Frieza's death beams, can they penetrate Goku? Yes. Why? Because Goku and Frieza have comparable levels of strength to where their key attacks can directly affect each other. It's like that's like the logic behind how it works. Laser guns are not restricted by this key-based argument. It now is solely based on Goku's durability of his body versus a laser that's meant to stab through people, a laser that's like meant to pierce through your body. If that's the case, we already know that Goku can get hit by a bullet and that a bullet can like scratch him, right? We know that that's a thing. We also know that Goku can just grab bullets out of the air. That's another thing. Like, I feel like Goku can dodge lasers. Sure. He can deflect lasers. We've seen Trunks deflect lasers, so clearly deflecting lasers is a thing. I feel like he has lots of ways to defend himself against lasers. But if Goku just stands there and says, I know you're going to shoot a laser at me, but I'm not going to move, and I'm not going to try to deflect it. I'm not going to like make a barrier or anything. I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to get hit by a laser. I think Goku just gets hit by a fucking laser. I think the laser just goes through his body. I don't think he like twitches a pec and like bounces the laser off or anything like that. I think he gets hit by the laser and it goes through his body because it's a laser and he stood there and did nothing. Like I'm saying, I don't think Goku can like tank a laser by just like standing there. Let's see. So then Dookie Dropper said, Nick, but what if you would be happy with me and you can put them on my team? Then Kel said, give me a sec, I'm going to try to find footage. Okay, I'm totally down for that. If for whatever reason you can't post a link to the footage, for whatever reason YouTube doesn't let people post links in live chat most of the time, just tell me what to search on YouTube and I can type it up and try and get to the right video. Ryan said, Jet's face is the only thing I have seen that is from the next few days, but what is the most recent news on my channel? I cannot tell you that you are a fascist, but I don't know how you are going. Then Kel said, wait a sec, the durability of Goku's body can take planetary attacks, so he can take a laser. Goku can get scratched by a bullet. Like, the range of things that Goku can survive versus what he can't survive is like a really crazy range. Goku survives planetary attacks, but that's in large part because those attacks are ki attacks coming from opponents that are weaker than Goku or of a comparable strength. The way that ki works is that your ki output is like no greater than what you can like normally output in your normal attacks. Your ki isn't stronger than you are. So your ki is going to be like on that range. Goku can blow up planets with the greatest of ease. Goku can survive planet busting ki attacks. If Goku got hit by a fucking laser that could destroy the entire planet, a laser, not a ki attack, and he didn't block, he didn't deflect, he didn't move out of the way, I think Goku would just get annihilated by the laser. Because I don't think Goku has any special defense against getting hit by a laser. Let's see. Sebastian Gomez said, "Did you watch the Aquaman movie?" I did watch the Aquaman movie. I actually really liked the Aquaman movie. It's the best DCUO movie yet. So it's like better than Man of Steel, better than Suicide Squad, better than Batman v Superman, etc. I really like the Aquaman movie. I'd highly recommend that you check it out. It's the first DC cinematic universe movie to hit like over $1 billion. Really good movie. Highly recommend it. I did a whole video on my channel about like the top 10 things I didn't like about the Aquaman movie. If you want to hear my thoughts on Aquaman in like extreme detail, I definitely recommend you check out that video. I'll warn you, it's a long one. It's like 50 minutes long. Ryan said, "Laser from the Death Star was a great game for me to watch them play." Ryan, I don't know how you like change the sentences to make them feel nonsensical, but you're really good at it. He said planetary systems have been used to make sure you have a lot more time in your mind. Gosh, they feel surreal. The post where you guys like add the extra stuff to make them like crazy. Let me open a YouTube's tab. I will also like try and prove myself wrong. I want to like see cases where he gets hit by lasers and they like don't fuck him. Doogie Dropper's posting up more of those nonsense posts. Nonsense posts. Let's see. So Goku hit by laser. And like I said, I will totally eat my words if it's like, if I'm just like totally wrong. Of course, they always show Goku getting hit by a laser from like the Resurrection F movie, but I want to see Goku getting hit by a laser outside of that. Do 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 do. I really need a fucking laser. That's not the Resurrection F laser. It's like the main laser. Maybe I can type in Vegeta hit by a laser and see what happens. Vegeta hit by laser. Dragon Ball Z lasers. Blah blah blah. Hurt by laser. Blah blah blah. Something something something. Same shit. It's always the same shit. Let's see. So then, Ryan said, "Yo, what time are you going to come over and over here in a couple weeks, or maybe I'll come over and get you something for you to come over and come over here in the afternoon." So Ryan, are you still good for 9 a.m. tomorrow? 9 a.m. tomorrow is now like less than 7 hours away, but I'll be fine. Um, I don't. I already took like a nap earlier, so it's not a thing where I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get like fucked over on sleep. Like I should be good. So I'm still down to hang out tomorrow at 9 a.m. Do you want to start the hangout by going like straight to Five Guys, burgers and fries? I haven't had Five Guys food in a long time, and their watery shakes are okay. It's better than no shake at all. So I'm down. Let me look up when Five Guys opens on Sundays, because you may come over at 9, and then we hang out for a bit because Five Guys isn't open yet. Five Guys opens at 10:30 a.m. So if you came over at 9, Five Guys is how far away? Doing a little bit of semantics work. 8 minutes? Yeah, there would be no reason for us to immediately go to Five Guys. So do you want to come over around 9 and then we like watch stuff. We could watch like the Young Justice new episodes together if you're interested. We could watch anything other than that. Excuse me. I think there's a new episode of Ben 10 season 3 that I really need to watch so I can make a video on it. And it introduces Kevin 11 into like the new reboot continuity. If you'd be interested. Let's see. Ryan said 9 a.m. sure that you cannot is your time of time, and I will be sure you will be like blah 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 blah. So I think 9 a.m. sure is the only important part of that message. So good. I'll see you at 9. And I guess we'll like hang out for a little bit before we go to Five Guys, because Five Guys won't open until like an hour and a half after we wake up. I'm having trouble finding them with lasers. Maybe I need to do like Goku versus like Frieza soldiers. Because I'm totally fine with like being proven wrong. I just need to see it though. I need to like see him get hit by a laser. That's what I want. Because if there is evidence against what I'm saying, I just want to see that evidence. I just don't know where to find it. Goku hit by a laser. Do 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 do. Let's see. Ryan said for you that you cannot was the best way to make sure you were here in the United States, man. Way to the most amazing guy I have ever seen. Let's see. So the top comment on a Reddit post that said, how was Goku almost killed by a plasma rifle when he can survive planet-destroying blasts? And then someone said he let his guard down and didn't use his energy to protect himself. I thought it was dumb, but that's what happened as far as I can tell. And my argument is, if Goku just stands there and lets himself get shot by a laser, knowing it's coming, Goku still gets cut. Goku still gets cut. If he doesn't do anything to defend himself, the laser should just go through him. I don't think his body is like just durable for no reason. Like I don't think he can just stand there and be like, I'm aware of it. Because if the argument is that Goku is like fatigued and he's in his base and he didn't know the laser was coming, but you just take those things away and he just stands there, then I think the laser just still hits him and still goes through him. So if you're like, he's not fatigued, so he actually like just woke up, stretched for a bit, your boy's like ready for action, he's ready to go, so he just stands there, right? So he's not fatigued, he's like ready, he's like feeling himself. So he's not tired. He was in his base when he got hit by the laser. I think that's fine too. So he's like still in his base. I don't think you necessarily have to change that point of it. But he just stands there and doesn't defend himself. Pew, laser just goes through. Like, I think the laser just straight cuts him. Kel said, can you check out the link that I sent in chat? Sadly, the link did not show up for me. I like can see that you posted, but I can't see a link. Then Ryan said, plasma cards are not the same thing as the other player in the hand. Dang it. Ryan, are you like finding sentences that already exist and then like putting other words in them? But tell me what I need to search, like the words or like the title of the video, and I can like Google it and get to it. Ryan said the chat will not work on his phone, but he said, but it cannot. It is time for you an order for dinner. Interesting. What do you mean that the chat doesn't work on your phone? Do you mean like you have to use your computer in order to talk in the chat? Which is interesting if that is the case. Let's see. Goku has been hurt by much less. Kel said, search, why did Goku get hit by a laser by Seth the Programmer? I understand the concept that Goku was not ready for it and that he was fatigued. But if Goku was aware the laser was coming and didn't do anything, right, that the laser should still go through him. I believe I've actually already seen Seth the Programmer's video on like the Goku laser thing, so I think I'm like aware of what you're discussing. I used to watch Seth the Programmer back in the day. I'm just not a big fan of his videos. I feel like Seth on occasion will like say things and not really like show evidence for them, and that some things that Seth says about like other YouTubers can be like condescending at times. Um, Seth is a heavy power scaler, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I feel like whenever you mention like a specific like power scale, you should like show whatever you're mentioning, especially if it's like a video format, an edited video format. For like discussion videos, especially like live things, I understand if you can't pop up an image, but Seth doesn't do that kind of content. So I feel like if you're gonna say this character is this strong because this character did this, or this character is this weak because this character got hit by this, you should like show it. Sometimes he just kind of says stuff and you just kind of have to take his word for it. I think that's weird. I don't think that's the way that you should do it. But I get that if Goku knew the laser was coming, Goku could like deflect the laser. I get the idea that he could dodge the laser with the greatest of ease. But I don't think if Goku just stood there and let himself get shot, that the laser wouldn't go through. Pretty sure that laser would just drive right through his body. Just get cooked. That's my argument. That is what I am arguing. I get that Seth more or less is going to talk about like suppressed, caught off guard, fatigued. Da-na-na-na. I get that, but I don't think Seth is going to argue that Goku can just stand there and take the laser. I don't think that's what he's going to say. I think Seth is going to, in many words, say that, of course, if Goku knew it was coming, the laser wouldn't have cucked him. And that's it. And I agree, because he would have moved. I don't think Seth would make the argument that it's like because he would just stand there and take it. But I can press play on that video. I'm not a fan of Seth, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the video said something different that I like forgot or like didn't hear before that I'll have like a better like implication. Let's see. Gosh, I feel like it's just impressive the level of things that Ryan can say that are just like straight nonsense. It's an 11-minute video, and of course it has like an intro. Gotta add extra time. I'm gonna play it in 2x speed. Oh gosh, it's a video with Chuck. I don't like Chuck the Cybercuck either. Seth likes to work with him a lot. Okay. So right now I'm just listening to his points. So right now they're talking about how Goku used to fight against like a literal army back in Dragon Ball, and how he used to get like shot at by bullets. Missiles would come and like hit flamethrowers and shit like that. But they're not showing him getting hit by missiles, and they're not showing him getting hit by flamethrowers. So like one thing that they showed is like Goku like riding away from like the missiles, but they don't show him like make contact. And another one was showing Goku like dodging a flamethrower but not getting hit by the flamethrower. Yo, Sakid, welcome to the stream. It's good to have you. I feel like I said your name wrong right then. I feel like I should probably just call you Ahmed. It's probably safer. Welcome to the stream. It's good to have you. Don't forget to smash that like button. Truly appreciate it. Ryan said 11-minute videos are, and then he wrote more stuff. Okay. So let's see. And right now I'm watching that Set the Programmer video. Yeah, he can survive bullets. That is just a confirmed thing for Goku. And he did take an attack that could destroy a whole city. Like, my argument isn't that he can't take stuff like that, but I think it's because it's a key attack that he can, like, get past it. Right now they're talking about how one of Goku's major weaknesses is that he can get caught off guard, which is true. They're taking a long time to emphasize the fact that he gets caught off guard. Now they're giving an example of when Goku like got hurt by a rock that Krillin threw. Um, so one argument that they're making right now is that Krillin throws a rock at Goku while Goku is off guard, and the rock like hits Goku in the head while Goku's Super Saiyan, and it like legitimately like hurts Goku because he like was off guard and he wasn't prepared to get hit by the rock. And then they're like, but then Frieza, when he was fighting Goku, and Goku was Super Saiyan, Frieza throws like a whole bunch of rocks at him, and all the rocks just bounce off. For one, I kind of wish they would have like shown the Frieza scene because they showed the Krillin scene. So why not show the one where he like tanks it? And two, um, him being prepared for rocks is really different than being prepared for lasers. Rocks are like brute force attacks. Lasers are piercing. It's just really different. They're like fundamentally different. So right now I'm still just watching the video 2 times speed. So Ryan said Seth uses too many things in his videos, and then he then started just putting random stuff, I think. Then Kel said lasers are just made of energy or whatever, right? But not ki. He said, so why wouldn't Goku be able to take that? It's just force. Granted, it's piercing, but if he tensed up his body, he could take it. Tensing up your body doesn't stop lasers. And this is my argument, my whole argument for like why ki attacks and lasers are different is that ki comes from your strength. It comes from how strong you are. If Goku got fired at by a ki blast from like a small child who has like very little strength and very little ki, that ki blast would do like nothing. But if the same type of ki blast was shot by like Cell or Trunks, it would have a more significant effect, even if it was the same technique, because of the strength of the person firing it. Ki is directly related to how strong a person is who emits it, where lasers aren't judged by that at all. So a destructo disc that for all intents and purposes can like cut through a mountain is stopped by Cell's neck. Why? Because it's thrown by someone that's weaker than Cell. But you don't get that benefit from lasers because they're not directly connected to how strong a person is. They're like unrelated things. Then Ryan said lasers, and then he said more stuff. And he said something about tensing up buttholes. And he said tell Cell would have deflected your phone number. That was interesting. That was a bar. The Cell would have deflected your phone number. Kel said Goku's body is able to go through mountains and stuff easily. So if his body itself is extremely strong, Goku's body is extremely strong, and it is able to get hit through mountains. He got his face like ripped against like a bunch of ice and shit like in the Broly movie. So Goku's body is incredibly strong. But lasers. So at a certain point you have to look at like feats, right? You have to look at what has this character been able to tank versus what has this character not been able to tank, because feats matter. Superman has been hit by a rock before, and a rock just hits him and is like, oh, it doesn't matter because it's a rock and I'm Superman, so Superman's not hurt. If you throw a kryptonite rock at Superman, Superman's like, oh, I'm weak to kryptonite. I may be strong against most things, but kryptonite cucks me. You can be strong against tons of things. You can even be a character who more or less is like Achilles, where like nothing fucks me, I'm just really good. but then have like an Achilles heel. Something that even though you're really strong and you tank through most things, that Achilles heel still is like something that can like hurt you. And I feel like if all your laser feats are I got shot with a laser and it hurt a lot, then there's no reason to argue that lasers wouldn't hurt him if he didn't defend himself. That's my argument. If Goku just stands there and doesn't do shit in his base form and gets hit by a laser, I don't see why him just standing there would prevent him from getting hurt by a laser when I've seen him get shot by a laser and hurt. I get that he was fatigued. I get that he was off guard. I feel like if he wasn't off guard, though, he would move out of the way or he would deflect it. I feel like there's no way in hell that Goku could just sit there and get hit by the laser and be fine. Like, that's my argument. I want to find Vegeta training in the gravity chamber when the lasers were firing at him. Because, like I said, I'll eat my words if I can find evidence against what I'm saying. So, I feel like Vegeta, gravity chamber, lasers. I'm ready. Let's see. Kel said feats matter, but since we can't at least easily find him taking a laser beam, we need to use logic and power scaling. So let's see. There's a Dragon Ball Z scene that's called Vegeta and Bulma Gravity Room Explosion. So your boy Vegeta is dodging what I think is a laser. Now I'm confused because it's an energy blast that's deflecting off of a bunch of things in a room, but I don't know if it's a laser. It's not like a beam, it looks like one of those orb things. Gravity room lasers? I could have sworn that there was lasers in the gravity room. Dragon Ball. So there's a scene of Vegeta training in the gravity chamber in Super. I'm gonna look at that real quick. It's a really short scene. It's only like a minute or something. So he's in the gravity room. He sets it to like 150 Gs. Okay. And now these are straight up laser guns. These are straight up laser guns. And your boy's just dodging lasers left and right, just all over the place. I think I might be able to post this in the live chat. I don't think he gets hit by any, but I'm still going to watch it to see if he does. Because maybe that'll be like a way for us to know. So it's going to be like Vegeta dodging lasers. Boom. And this is under a training situation where Vegeta's like prepared for this. So let's see. Does he get hit? I don't think he gets hit, but I'm not sure. If he gets hit and he tanks it, then I'm fine. So here Vegeta's sweating. He's dodging these fucking lasers. Lasers shoot for... He got shot in his chest. And he... and that hurt like a bitch. It didn't go through him, though. So that's good. Vegeta's also wearing Saiyan armor, though. And you may be like, Saiyan armor? Why would Saiyan armor matter? Like, bruh. Keep in mind, like, the Saiyans back in the day, they used to, like, fight with, like, guns and shit. Saiyans have ki blasts, but they also, too, use laser guns. Laser guns are a thing that were used by Saiyans because Saiyans believed that they could, like, hurt with a laser gun. Like, it's not like because you're a Saiyan, the laser guns, like, don't fuck you, if that makes sense. Even in the Broly movie, there are Saiyans who are, like, snipers, who, like, have, like, guns, like, trained on, like, Frieza when he shows up in the Broly movie. Saiyans used guns, right? Vegeta's armor, or whatever that he wears, could be made specifically for him to, like, not get cut by the lasers, as much as if he wasn't wearing that armor. Goku, on the other hand, wears, like, a gi. He wears, like, an orange gi, and it's weighted clothing, so it's, like, heavy, but I don't think Goku's gi gives him any necessary, like, defense against, like, a laser. I feel like Goku's gi, if he gets hit by a laser, it's more likely that the laser will just go straight through. Where Vegeta with his armor, if he gets hit by a laser, it may be the fact that his armor helps protect him from lasers. Which is not hard to, like, get to that logically. You know, if Saiyans use lasers, and if Saiyans used to conquer planets where other people would use lasers, and if lasers can penetrate Saiyans, which we know they can, then it would make sense to have armor that helps protect you from lasers. Kel said in the Gravity Room Explosion video, it shows him taking a laser. That's what I'm currently describing. He takes the laser while wearing Saiyan armor, and I think the Saiyan armor probably helped protect him from the laser. So he does take a laser to the chest, but it's a laser while wearing armor. And he got hit in an armor place too. It wasn't even like he got hit in like one of the cloth blue areas of the armor. So I don't know. He had like an extra defense to help like protect him from just getting cut. Also, the lasers seem less like they were a piercing kind of thing. And my evidence for saying that the lasers didn't seem like they were piercing is because of how they hit the floor. When you see the lasers hit the floor, the lasers don't seem to actually harm the ground. The lasers get shot like all around, but you're not seeing like divots being drawn into the ground or anything like that, or getting like drilled in, and the ground isn't like covered in like holes. So even though they're lasers, it seems like maybe they could be more of a burning laser kind of thing than a like kind of like, well, sorry, not a, but a zoomp. So it could be more of like a impact kind of thing for this laser. The lasers that we're referring to, though, when talking about Goku getting hit by lasers, we're talking about specifically lasers that we know pierce stuff. Keep in mind, Vegeta's really strong, but what about clothing? Clothing breaks all the time in Dragon Ball. It's not uncommon for you to get in a fight against a tough opponent and for your like clothing to get knocked off and shit like that. So Vegeta got hit by the laser in his Saiyan armor. In his Saiyan armor, if you pay attention to that scene, doesn't have any like scratches, bruises, marks, or any shit like that. His armor looks pristine, probably because it was made to sustain laser fire. If it was a piercing laser, you would be able to, I imagine, see like the laser pierce through the armor, maybe like a hole in the armor or some kind of mark to show that he was hit by the laser, to show that his armor took damage, but he didn't get fucked by the laser to where like the laser like went through his body or anything. So my theory is either that the armor protected him, which makes sense, that Saiyan armor would be made to be able to sustain laser fire, or if it wasn't the armor, and for whatever reason the armor didn't take any noticeable damage, that it was not the kind of laser that pierces through, which is normally in Dragon Ball shown as being like the skinnier form of like laser. It's normally like a skinnier red kind of beam is normally what is portrayed as like a piercing laser in Dragon Ball. So it just seems like it's a different kind of laser. Let's see. Kel said in the video I watched he didn't have armor. The video you watched he didn't have armor? I mean, the video I sent you, he's wearing like his traditional Saiyan armor. You know, the white breastplate Vegeta basic uniform armor. He didn't have the little shoulder pad things, but he's definitely wearing armor. At least in the link I sent you. The link, Vegeta is training at Gravity Chamber, Dragon Ball Super Episode 2. You said Gravity Room Explosion. So, Vegeta and Bulma Gravity Room Explosion. So I looked at that one, the first 11 seconds of it, and I got skeptical because the thing that's bouncing around, I can't tell if it's a laser or not. I know that sounds stupid, but I don't know how the scene started. See how when he blocks the laser, he shoots an energy blast at it, and the two like things hit each other and they look identical? Are we sure that Vegeta didn't shoot an energy blast and then have it bounce off all those things? I want to see what happened right before this, because I'm not sure if that's a laser or if it's just one of his energy attacks. I wish I knew what episode this was. Do they straight up call it a laser at any point? It just looks like one of his attacks. Let's see. Ryan said, Jet, what is your favorite part of the time of your week to be part of the time? Da-na-na-na. So what was my favorite part of the week? I'm not sure. I'd need a little bit more time in order to like think about it. Kel said, well, I've hit you with everything I've got, and I haven't been able to directly prove you wrong, so I'm going to take the L. I still disagree, but I'm fine with that L. Um, I wouldn't throw in the towel yet, Kels. I mean, you might be right. My main question is about whether or not this is a laser. Also, Vegeta, when he gets hit, I can't tell if he got grazed. Oh, wait. I'm playing it at 2 times speed. Dumbass me. Okay, so I'm gonna... No, that's normal? Okay, never mind. I have it at normal speed. It happens really fast. And the laser more or less, like, takes over the camera. So there's a way for you to, like, slowly, like, pan through it. So I'm hitting, like, the side arrow mark on my keyboard. And I'm, like, making it, like, go forward, like, slowly, like, frame by frame. Oh, wow. If you watch it frame by frame, when the energy blast gets close enough to, like, Vegeta's face, in the very next frame, it, like, cuts away. You can't, like, actually see, like, where it impacts. But he audibly afterwards is like, ugh! And I can't tell if he got grazed by the laser or if the laser, like, straight up hit him because of the way that they, like, decided to, like, animate it. You don't get to see him get hit. It's just like a bunch of like white over like a black screen. So it's a really like interesting situation for trying to determine like how he got hit and whether he got hit. But I'm trying to figure out if I can find like direct evidence to support what you're saying, because it looks like one of his energy blasts. And I can support that by showing you guys this next thing. Wow, they actually looped a lot of like the same animation for that one scene that I just looked at. So, real quick, I'm gonna just straight up like show you like some of the footage. So the blast like goes past him and he falls to the ground, but it's still bouncing. It's coming toward him, and then he like fires his own energy blast, and they look identical. They look like just the same thing. And then frame by frame, it's just the same thing, and they're like wiggling around like on each other. And then they eventually like explode against each other after multiple frames of them just kind of like twitching. And they blow up. So the way I feel about that, right, is that I'm not sure if he's like actually like dodging laser or if he's like dodging his own blast that's ricocheting off of things in the gravity chamber. I think that's the thing that's got me messed up about that one in particular. Then Ryan said, frame by hand. He said, I cannot. I like you and your favorite song of your life, something, something. Sebastian Gomez said, I like your direct. Then Ryan said, supporting that position, something, something. Then Kel said, I can't find anything to beat you, so I'm just going to throw in the towel because the towel is all sweaty and gross from trying to beat you. But I'm just going to throw in the towel anyways and take the L. Fair enough, fair enough. I don't know, now I feel invested. I'm like trying to figure out if I can like disprove myself. Because like I said, I'm entirely willing to take the L. I'm just also looking for the L now. But I am willing to talk about anything else that you guys are interested in. If you guys do want to talk about like something else, just feel free to bring up like a discussion topic, hopefully in a way that I can understand it. Ryan and Dookie Dropper are talking about crazy stuff. So I'm having trouble keeping up with like what they're asking. But feel free for you guys to ask whatever you guys want, including like Dookie Dropper and Ryan. Just please phrase it in a way to where I better understand it. Sebastian Gomez said, am I in college? Yes, I'm currently in my dorm room. Right now I'm trying to find like evidence. that they're lasers. But yeah, I'm in college. This is my dorm room. It looks a lot more like a prison. Also, I noticed we have 4 viewers and 8 likes. Can we get it to 4 viewers and 9 likes? 9, sorry, bad at math. Sebastian Gomez said, and your girlfriend? I don't have a girlfriend, actually. I'm currently back in the dating scene. Let's see. Kel said this is way off topic, but I have this idea for a future Link monster that can gain Link arrows and a higher Link rating by attributing monsters summoned from the extra deck that are in one of its zones. I like the idea of a Link monster that can advance itself to have more Link arrows rather than Link summoning into a higher Link monster. Maybe you like the effect of like a lower Link monster, but you just want to have more arrows to allow it to do like more summons. I think that'd be interesting. Would it have to tribute a specific type of monster or not? Ah, lips are getting dry. Getting hella dry. I'm laughing at the Bulma scene. Vegeta's like hurt as fuck. And then Bulma's like, you need to calm down. And he's like, nah. Sebastian Gomez said, what city do you live in? I live in Huntsville. I actually pin the location on the vlogs. So if you check, it just says it's like filmed at my university. You can get the name of my university and where I'm at. Just all from the like GPS pin. This is just all there in the video. It's probably in the description. Or like next to the title even, like where it's at. Kel said the only requirement is that it's a monster summoned from the extra deck that's in one of its zones. So that'd be cool. What would the effect of that monster be other than being able to gain Link arrows by attributing monsters? Or would that be the only effect that it had? Let's see. Are they going to mention some lasers? Sebastian Gomez said, ha, okay. Okay, so they didn't have a, they never actually just say it's a laser. Okay, time for me to go back to that Seth the Programmer video, sadly. Ryan said the monster is the most addictive game on the market. Jet, watch out for the VR. Still don't know what you're talking about. Dookie Dropper just said more stuff. Incoherent, but about a city. So I'm still watching the Seth the Programmer video. I'm still also looking at the live chat. So if you guys have like any questions that you want to ask me, consider it like an AMA. You can literally ask me any question that you want. If you have any discussion topics that you like to talk about, whether it be like anime, comic book, superheroes, etc., just feel free to like hit me up and let me know what you want to talk about. Let's see. Dookie Dropper said, what if I was a monster and ate a man with a shovel and then come back and kill the man with a fortune cookie and then eat the cookie after? I don't know what the what if comes from. I imagine if I did that, then I would be a murderer who also enjoyed cookies. Then Kel said, I think that its other effect would be that if you tributed your own monster, it gains 200 attack each time, but if it's an opponent's monster, it loses 500 attack each time. Interesting, so you could use it with layer, but it would have a downside if you use it with layer. That actually is rather interesting. Ryan said, Jet, why are you so tired? Am I tired? Ryan, are you tired? Let's see. Kel said, oh, and you should make a player armor dual discard. A player armor dual discard. What would it do? I guess that would be my question. Then Ryan said, do you fear the Reaper? If the implication is, do I fear death? I don't think I would choose death willingly. Like, if someone was like, hey, I'll like kill you like right now, I don't think I'd be like, yeah, go for it. Like, I don't think I would like allow myself to just be killed. But in the moment of death, if I'm already like on my deathbed and there's nothing anyone can do to save me, I'm just like going to die, I feel like I would just accept it. Mainly because of the fact that one, there's nothing we can really do about it. And two, because I don't really see death as an end, I see it as a beginning to like something new. So there's no real reason to fear death, as death is something that comes for us all. Then Matt said, uh, not Matt, Ryan said just some crazy stuff. Dookie Dropper also said some crazy stuff. He said, then he becomes a jet, and no one ever found out who was the real jet, so he becomes a human jet with fortune cookies, so he sees the future with his cookies of fortune and then eats it. That'd be interesting to have a character who, their form of divination, for seeing the future was just they crack open a fortune cookie, and the fortunes in the cookie were like always accurate. Watching more of the Set the Programmer video. Like I said, if you guys have any questions or any discussion topics, feel free to hit me up in the live chat. I'm more than happy to react to your questions, answer them, and like start up a discussion. Also, I posted everything that I did today in the description box below. So if you guys want to like go through the different things that I did during my day and ask me questions about my day, feel free to do so. I'm an open book. I'm like more than happy to like answer those questions. Then Ryan said sex sells a great amount of cheese. I don't think I've seen a cheese commercial that like was trying to promote itself through like scantily clad women or anything like that. They were like cheese, cheese. Like I haven't seen that. But I wouldn't be surprised if such ads do exist. Kel said, I was thinking there would be a mini archetype called Player's Monsieur, this card's name, and Dual Disc that allows you to search them. So what's Player's Monsieur? Um, and then Dookie Dropper said, but what if the cookies are blasted with cheese? And then Ryan said, what is your favorite type of sexy cheese? My favorite type of sexy cheese would either be Swiss cheese, because I do like Swiss and it has like holes in it. Um, or maybe like mozzarella sticks for like a like phallic kind of thing. I don't know. Like I've never really thought about sexy cheese before. Probably like Swiss cheese with the holes in it. Maybe Swiss and mozzarella together. Swiss cheese with mozzarella sticks inside of the Swiss cheese holes. His favorite sexy cheese. Double trouble. Then Dookie Dropper said, what if the cookies are blasted with cheese? Last time I heard blast and cheese together, it was a fucking like Kraft macaroni and cheese commercial with Cheezosaurus Rex. I don't think a fortune cookie would necessarily taste good blasted with cheese. I don't think those flavors necessarily complement each other. Then Kel said, not Monsieur, I meant monster. So you think there would be a mini archetype called Player's Monster? And then dual disc would allow you to search Player's Monster. What would Player's Monster do? I guess would be my question. And then Dookie Dropper said, what's the type of water you like? Cheese or change of clover, maybe aspirin? I drink tap water most of the time, but my favorite water, I actually really like those ice sparkling waters, and like the tall like oval bottles. I'd say like for flavored sparkling water, it probably has like the best like flavor where it doesn't even like taste like most flavored waters that taste watered down. The flavor actually comes out pretty well and the carbonation's pretty solid. It's practically soda, but it's sparkling flavored water. So I'd say ice sparkling water is my favorite brand of water. Kel said, I just thought player monsters would be relatively weak, but have neat effects. What makes them work alongside player armor? I guess like what is like the gimmick tie that player monster would have to player armor? Then Ryan said, what liquid would you pour on yourself in a YouTube video to be part of the group? What liquid would I pour on myself for a YouTube video? I think in a dorm, no liquid, because I wouldn't want to clean it up. I wouldn't want to have to clean up any liquid. I also couldn't see myself pouring liquid on myself in a video wearing like good clothes. Maybe if I was like at a water park, I could see myself like getting splashed with water. Uh, Somewhere else, I could see myself getting like hit with liquid in a video, but it would probably be water and would probably be in a situation to where I was like wearing a bathing suit or something. I wouldn't want to like ruin my normal clothes and just have to deal with it. Let's see. Doogie Dropper said, "Can you do a video where you see the future so you eat it?" Uh, a video where I like try to use divination to see the future. I think me and Maddie could probably do like a tarot card reading video. Maddie's been getting really into tarot not too long ago. She was like getting really hype about it. I think she has like 2 different tarot decks now. I imagine she wouldn't mind doing a divination video where she tries to see into the future. Maybe do tarot readings for you guys in the live chat. I have to talk to her about it, see if it's something she's interested in. Then and the eating part, I don't know about the eating part. I don't get that. Then Ryan said only if you cook it before eating. The future, you gotta cook that future apparently before you eat. Don't eat a raw future. Still back to this horrible Seth the Programmer video. Then Doogie Dropper said, do a video maybe with Matt and disagree, where Matt disagrees with everything you say. Then Ryan comes in and dislikes it. I think we did that tonight. I think that's more or less how that happens. Kel said, I guess it would be like if you attack this turn using the effect of player armor sword. Player armor helmet is the way that it attacks, which doesn't make much sense. But I designed the cards like that, so oops. Using the effect of player armor helmet, this happens. Or if you activate a player armor card while this card is on the field, this happens. That would actually be interesting to have like a monster-based archetype that works directly with player armor. I think there's potential for that. I guess I would actually request, would you be interested in making that? I would actually really love to see your ideas for it. Since you're the one who came up with the idea originally, I'd like to see like how you would design that and like what those effects would be. And then Ryan said that is always. And then he said a blade of armor, but it is the cheese that melts away. So you have like cheese armor, and then the laser like can't get to you. It just melts the cheese in the way. Then Dookie Dropper said, "Can you do more animations where Nick sees the future of fortune cookies, then eats it with Jet, and then Nick kills Jet so he can become the new Zawaruda?" It's been a long time since I've done like a cartoon. You do have a good point when you mention that. I wouldn't mind doing more animation stuff. Oh shit, my battery's at like 15%. I guess I gotta end the stream because I'm about to like run out of battery. But I'd like to thank you all for joining us for an almost 3 hour vlog stream. If you like this video, make sure to smash that like button, favorite, comment, subscribe, and ding ding ding. Ring that notification bell to be notified whenever you do these live streams. This is your host, your friend, your boy, Jet Black, the one and only, logging out. Sorry that I didn't go over my day one more time, but my entire day is written in the description box below. So if you want to learn more about my day, it's all written there. Kel said I could totally make them. It's pretty easy to make the pictures for them, so I just have to make the card text. Okay, Ballin, thank you kindly. I appreciate it. Dookie Dropper said lol. Ryan said I saw a movie today that featured kaiju folk. Oh, that's interesting. Forza ATM said, what's up, bro? Yo, Forza, welcome to the stream. It's good to have you. Don't forget to smash that like button. My phone is actually about to die, so I'm about to end the stream, but I'd like to thank you for tuning in. If you want to learn more about my day, I wrote out like a huge description about my day in the description box below, so feel free to check that out. It's only like 4 points. Actually, I said it was huge, but I don't know. Everything I did today is in the description box below. I also went over my day at the beginning of the video, so make sure to check that out if you're curious. Anyways, thank you all for watching. This is your host, your friend, your boy, Jet Black, the one and only, logging out.